Greetings everyone and welcome to GuildGab. This is a show all about Guild Wars 2 and today we're going to be discussing The Living World Season 4, Episode 4, A Star to Guide Us. This is going to serve right here as your spoiler warning. We are talking about everything about Tuesday's update, including story, lore, mentioning the raid, the new map, everything. So if you haven't played it yet, want to keep that surprises for yourself, pause the video, come back later, watch the VOD on Twitch. You'll be able to find us. Alright, I'm your host, AuroraPeachy, and with me today are my wonderful co-hosts, RPG Alex, formerly literally playable, formerly RPG Shack. Oh, there goes the music again. Yes, we're pro here. And we have a CorvusPlays. How's it going, Corvus?
I'm good. I exist.
He exists.
It's true.
He came out of the mists. He was lost for a while, like Ritlock.
I've touched his beard. He's real.
I'm real.
Oh.
He's real.
Did you come back with a sword, though, that's on fire?
Did you?
I mean, I guess you could call it a sword.
Okay.
Good tweet.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, we're missing an Inks today, guys. We haven't heard from him, so we hope you're well, Inks, and taking care of yourself. But the show must go on. So we are going to talk about A Star to Guide Us, Episode 4. And I thought this was a pretty great episode. Keeping in the consistency, in my opinion, of Season 4 has really been great. The writing, the instances, the story, the maps, everything's just been great, and I don't think this episode was any exception to that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like for me, certainly starting off with the map, that having an actual engaging map-wide meta again, because it's been 6 months since we've had one, and especially with the death branded Shatterer that you see kind of in the story, it relates a little bit more than
right.
It feels connected.
Like I saw
previous
this guy.
episode.
I know this guy.
Yeah.
Let's go kill him.
Exactly.
You've seen him before, and it was part of me was kind of worried that after Long Live Lich, the state of the map, that we got with that episode, I was kind of worried that while we get the quality and the story, that the map might
lacking.
Yeah, that the map might suffer the same fate as wherever the heck Domain Corner.
Yeah.
But it hasn't, and it's great. There's stuff to do. It's an interesting map. It's got different sections. There's the Sunspear refuge in it, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. Yeah, and the map currency is actually relatively plentiful. The hearts are interesting. There's different sets of characters. There's collections. It's like probably the best map this season.
Yeah, I was gonna say that definitely. It feels really ambitious actually. Like they just kind of had fun designing it and throwing stuff together. And I agree. Last episode was just, I think the map just really held that episode back. It kind of just personally left me with like not much to do, and it wasn't that fun to be in. So, but this episode, the story was amazing. The map is great. So yeah, I think this is the best map, definitely the best episode personally as well. Like even the encounters and stuff when you're, having to run away from the big giant Shatterer hands and stuff, like that's cool, man.
Yeah,
it was a really good episode overall.
Yeah, I mean, how did you find the? I guess how have you found it, Peachy?
The map is phenomenal. I played through it all stream yesterday, and I had a lot of fun the whole time. There was so many little bits to explore. I mean, I haven't explored everything in the map, but people are telling me about little secrets and Easter eggs in the map. I hear that cow with like the mist rift behind it is back somewhere in Caithe. The one that was in the Labyrinthine Cliffs that gave us that little hint of like the rips in the mist from the story. I hear he's there, but like the rift is bigger. So all these little Easter eggs and tie-ins with the story. That giant cyclone that goes like through the map.
Yeah.
And I was convinced it was gonna like just instantly kill you, you know, and you'd have to run away from it. But no, it like spins you up in the air and you get to like fly around. It's great.
Yeah, I was hoping for. I got flew up and got all to the top. It's like, oh, volatile magic farm, fantastic, and they only ever give you one bit of volatile magic. It's not kind of like random between 1 and 7 or whatever. It's just like another bit. Yeah, just one. But yeah, it's also interesting that I think using the hurricane is there's particular points in the map that you can only access by getting yourself thrown up in the hurricane as well. And I think there's a mastery point that's quite high up in the branded bit, and the only way that I've been able to get to it is getting up in the hurricane and then using the griffin to fly. It's somewhere, like I said, somewhere in the branded bit. It's just nice that you've got this really nicely well put together map, and you've got all these environmental factors which help you explore as well. It's just cool.
And the story of the people in the villages, and again ties in with the story because like one of the hearts involves like you can go around and smash these little branded crystals, kind of like the branded is like starting to grow and take over the city, because there's another village that in the story they say that it completely got taken over by branded and like killed everybody. Then you have this other town that you kind of see it starting in, and so every time I saw the little purple branded crystal, I'm like, go stomp it, and I was like excited to go stomp this crystal, like get out of here, Kralkatorrik. It was just fun, and of course the entrances to the Sun's Refuge. So the new personal story instance that they introduced and they teased us about in not only the trailer to this episode, but the 6th anniversary of Guild Wars 2, which was at the end of August. And there was a nice trailer that came out, and they talked a lot about the story and where the story of the game is going, and to be excited about it. We'll touch on this later, but that they're going right from season 4 into season 5. There's no expansion in between, like we all expected, and that season 4 is wrapping up. And you know, it seems like they want to get into season 5. And I'm really satisfied with the pace of the story moving forward. But going back to Sun's Refuge, nobody, like, there was a lot of speculation on what exactly is this going to be. Is this going to be like housing, you know, that we've always wanted? Is, you know, which is a big, you know, what you would think is an expansion worthy feature. But also in that 6th anniversary video, they talked about releasing content when it's ready, even like expansion level stuff that you would think they would save for an expansion, things like more mounts. I mean, we got the roller beetle in the last episode, so they're pushing out these features as they're ready rather than saving them all up for an expansion.
The only slight problem with Sun's Refuge is that it's being abandoned straight away. That there was a forum post, and they said, oh, well, you know, we wanted to see if it'd work, and we've talked about this in other places, and I don't want to, you know, start whinging or complaining this early on, but just it's such a great idea, and the way it's tied into the story, there's an entire instance dedicated to clearing this thing out, and for them just to go, that was an experiment, we'll just leave it as it is.
I feel like it's like,
it's
kind of a missed opportunity. I was hoping for, like, obviously the dream was like guild hall style decorations, right? Being able to just completely kit that out. I would have liked a bit more of a lengthy like upgrade system or something. Like maybe not I can place this here and that there, but maybe you can, you know, properly put resources into it and grow it into something, you know, quite big.
Even if there's like a relatively low decoration or something, that would be great, because you've got that central bit, you've got the actual command bit itself, but around the outside, the bit with the dark cave where you're going, like there's just opportunities to be able to like upgrade it and have some braziers there lighting the way down, and then clearing up all like the broken rocks and you know, chipping away at the branded crystals and all that kind of thing. I'm just looking at it and just like, this is so ripe for moving on from the situation of the home instance and saying, right, you can now transfer all of your nodes across to this new Sun's Refuge thing.
That's what I was thinking, your home instance nodes.
I was so hoping for it. And then that way, instead of just meeting random characters in maps to progress the story, you can say, right, we've done this thing. We can converge back in Sun's Refuge to think about our next plan of action, kind of thing. Because before Lion's Arch got destroyed the first time in game, there was Fort Mariner, and you had the Vigil base there, and there's this. I can't remember which bit of the story it's in, but there's this bit where you go in with Almora, who also turns up in this patch, and you go around like the little war table and you discuss your options and that kind of thing. And that felt like it was just like a place where, it was cool. It was like somewhere where people got organized. And
I think that's it. We have that communicator now with Taimy, so we don't like so much of it is just like I'm in this random zone doing something and the story's progressing. I like that we have to go back to like our base. We have to go back to this place, and talk about it. It just makes it feel a bit more immersive. So I think there's still a chance to redeem it. I'd like for a future episode for us to go back there, right? If that is now our base, maybe once we find Orin or whatever, like we go
Orin's
back.
got a little nest there now that Taimy's building.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I was really hyped to see all the little, if you went and collected all of the different places and stuff that'd be there.
They moved them from the egg chamber to here because she's grown now.
Exactly.
She's beyond the egg chamber, so she's moved out here. And you're right, it does serve as a base of operations in the desert, which we didn't really have. It was always like let's meet in Amnoon, but there wasn't really like a place.
But it's not our spot. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I think, to be fair, the disappointment with Sun's Refuge comes from our expectations as players of wanting a home instance and wanting housing and wanting to decorate a place that's just ours rather than the guild hall. I definitely had those expectations. I think if they would have now to be fair, ArenaNet never said decorations. Housing. They never used those words.
But it was such a big part of the thing.
It was. They really hyped it up, and everybody was excited about it because it was this new thing, right? It was this new thing, and they said we're going to release these big features as they're ready. I think if they simply would have called it a quest hub, which is what it is, and looking at it as a quest hub, I love it. If you look at it at just exactly what it is, it's great, because in the other maps, I felt like I was going into my achievements panel to find out what to do and like what collections are available. Okay, well there's a bag of it, I guess I have to talk to this char over here, but like how do I know to do that? And so in this map, we have the Sun's Refuge to go and you actually talk to people, I saved this person, so now they're back here and they're going to tell me to go on this quest for the armor, and there's a reason behind it, and it's all located centrally. And there are cool things you can unlock. So looking at it that way, it's really cool. And I would want one of these in every map because it makes,
the thing is that
it's a little bit more centralized for your collections. It gives a physical place in one place for your collections and achievements and rewards than just kind of randomly throughout the map.
The thing is, though, like the way that the story's going, and we're probably going to touch on this, well, we certainly are going to touch on it because it's quite an interesting story point, is that if Orin is going to replace Kralkatorrik as an Elder Dragon, having a base of operations smack bang in the middle of the desert, where our very own Elder Dragon now reigns supreme in her corner of the world, it's it's not totally beyond kind of sensible thinking, in my opinion. I mean, there's also this. It could just be really cool, and Peachy, you are completely right that we built our expectations up, and we were like, this is what we're going to get, but there's still time for ArenaNet to go. You know what?
Oh, absolutely.
We actually think that's a cool idea. We're going to listen to the community, and we really, really think that we want to kind of develop this. I mean, we're not asking for full on guild hall type things where we have to upgrade it to 70 levels of.
I'm with Corvus. I wanted that guild hall dumping materials into it to upgrade it, seeing it change, seeing things built back up. I wanted that.
There's so many little ideas. I didn't mean to say the
extent of guild halls though, not like 70 levels of like an Ethereum mine and then start chucking all kinds of stuff in.
I just wanted like a place that, because we've kind of we've left the pact, right? Like, and for all intents and purposes, we're now like kind of our own unit. So like, I feel like having our own little base just makes sense. And I would love to have little things like maybe there's a stable and you can see all your mounts or something.
No,
You know,
Yeah,
like
stuff
yeah.
like that.
There are little
Yeah.
kids riding mounts, like, because there's not a
Yeah.
lot for the kids to do, like, because one of the quests is to find books for the kids that aren't, like, Joko rewritten. And so if you go around, like, there's almost every mount, like, there's little kids. There's people leading a kid around on a mount, like, giving them mount rides to keep them busy. It's such a
Yeah.
cute touch.
but like even having little like I don't know, I'd love like armor stands so you could display armor sets you've got or
Or
something.
like bits
Or-
of armor that you've unlocked, kind of thing.
Yeah, or like the
That-
same thing with
I want
weapons,
to
like
say
putting your
there is
legendaries on the
that, but
wall.
I don't know for sure.
it's in the Hall of Monuments in Guild Wars 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it would
something
probably
like that would be cool.
Yeah, it'd probably be a lot of. But the thing is, like, we've had the Hall of Monuments in the game for 6 years now, and I think that if they were ever going to do a rebuild a home instance thing, it would be with the Hall of Monuments because
Yeah, but
they've
you can
already-
only unlock that if you have Guild Wars 1. You can't go there unless
Yeah.
you own it.
So that is
it
a
would
very
be,
good point.
You know, it'd be a paywall to a home instance.
Well, they could have unlocked it for everyone. It's just
Yeah,
the
true,
Guild
true,
Wars
yeah.
1 connection gives you the NPCs that give you the items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could have swore in the announcement trailer for that they said like display your achievements. That's why everybody was thinking Hall of Monuments because that's exactly
Yeah.
what the Hall of Monuments was.
Yeah.
Something like that would be super cool. Maybe we just have to wait till Guild
Yeah,
Wars 3
well, like
or
they said, if
something.
Alex said that they said that this was kind of a launching point for it, this was kind of an experiment, then maybe something like that is coming. We just have
Yeah,
to
But
wait
they,
a little longer.
no,
Season
but
5.
didn't they say that it was an experiment? They wanted to see if they could do it, so they did it. But that
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah.
But
And it's like the most ArenaNet thing ever to like think of a cool thing and then just
sort of
Just
do it
leave
and
it.
then be like, nah.
yeah.
They'll
It's
be
our
happy.
expectations,
No
man.
one
It's our
wants dungeons.
expectations.
Well, I'm sorry for having expectations.
I have so many high hopes for this game. No.
But just one more thing about this and the map in general is that the Sun's Refuge, if you cover it over old Jahai Bluffs, it's
Mhm.
smack bang where it's supposed to be as well.
Nice.
That's
Like
really
this
cool.
this map is pretty much screenshot because the guy who made
He
the
worked
map,
on it, right? Like,
he made the original Nightfall map.
that's so
That
cool.
is so cool.
I've completely forgotten the guy's name. So, ArenaNet John, if you're still watching and you know the name of the chap who did it, he did a bang up job.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really great.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the
Story
story itself. Let's talk about what happened in this story, in this episode.
Hashtag spoilers.
Hashtag spoilers. Here comes the real
Hashtag.
spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it starts off as things tend to do.
Starts off political.
Political. We have a bit of a chat, and then it turns out that everyone's sort of getting on with each other after we Palawa Joko. Well, sort of getting on with each other. Like there are still. It's interesting that it almost kind of mirrors Ebonhall a bit. That there's like probably about 75% of people who are all like, you know, like we're not totally happy with the Awakened and the stuff. But let's just try and get on. They've had a bit of a rough time. Let's all get on. And then there's Udamishi being a complete jeben going, no, no, he's coming back. And
Like,
And
no,
then-
he's dead. He's gone.
dead.
He's
He's
gone.
rip.
You
It's
saw
like
him get eaten.
Accept it. Accept
Yeah, it's like there's an
There.
achievement for us to get his staff, mate. You know, we're
it.
we're taking his loot. This is how it's happening.
It's a great thing that they addressed this in the first instance because that's what
Yeah.
we wanted, right? Like it was huge. Joko's dead. Like that's huge, and everyone was wondering what's going to happen to Vabi, what's going to happen to the people who rely on the Awakened, and so the fact that they actually addressed this was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and yeah, like Marge has just said, having these kind of recurring characters that it's quite interesting that when you start bringing Awakened into it, you can lean on killing them as a bit of a character development. So
Yeah.
when Ibaru comes back for the 4th or 5th time since Path of Fire, it's like, dude, really? Come on.
You're dead.
But it's cool because the first time you meet him is when he starts tearing up the casino in Path of Fire, I think, and then you know that he's very zealous to the cause and everything, but the way that your antagonistic relationship develops with him is kind of cool, and just the way that now that Joko is dead, he's sort of without direction. It means that it doesn't automatically lead to him, becoming highlighted red and combat starting.
Right,
It's
right.
that you have that great friction with him.
Yeah,
and,
it's
and
really
then of course,
cool.
and then of course he gets splattered by the Shatterer, which is really funny.
Oh man, he
This is
better
so
come
great.
back as super branded or something.
Yeah.
He's the next big bad. We're like, how many times do I have to kill you, boy?
Mm.
And Caithe comes back.
Yeah, that
Caithe
was
is free now. I know the community was asking about that. Like, Caithe was, kept there by Joko's will. He's like, I can't leave this cave. And it was like, oh, that's kind of a shame that, we see Caithe, but he's stuck in this cave. But now he's
Yeah.
free, and he actually has, like, he's around this whole episode. He's the one that tells us about the Sun's Refuge.
And it's cool him and Kazan as well, like the
Yes! Oh my
interactions,
God.
like kind of learning about each other and stuff.
Yes, the feels.
Yeah.
He's like, who are you?
Caithe
He's like, I'm your
sad.
great-grandson with a bunch more greats in there.
With a few more greats.
And he's like, wants to
But it's
learn
cool.
about him and learn about his legacy. That was a really, really nice touch.
It's cool, and then later on that Kost ends up talking to, is it Spear Marshal Zane about Talcora and
Yeah.
and all that kind of thing, which is weird because she should have been dead for a while by now.
Well, who knows, Alec? It might be a mystery,
Who,
Alec.
who knows if she turns up for 30 minutes next episode and then again.
From the character models, there was a couple, like, there's some NPCs that are, like, big and awakened and, but there's some who kind of still look like humans, but they've got the
Yeah.
undead faces. I had a little bit of trouble distinguishing, like, who was alive and who wasn't.
I
who
just
was
based
awakened.
off the sound of the voice, right? If it sounds kind of ghostly
Yeah.
or whatever, I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
they're one of those guys.
yeah.
But yeah, then
I
we
mean,
had the
that's
big
just a
escape.
little thing.
The big escape section, which is great.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The
Run out.
undead Shatterer, or the death branded Shatterer. That's
Yeah.
what they called it. So Shatterer was brought back with Krakatoric using Zaitan's powers.
Mm.
Really cool. Comes and
That
crashes
whole
the summit.
sequence was so cool. Like it really did feel like really urgent, really panicked, and just having like this giant arm smash through the wall, and like it was really fun.
It's cool, and there's a little achievement that's there's like the little
Splat.
mini.
The splat.
Oh yeah, there's the splat achievement. Yeah.
I got that
Yeah.
first try.
Do you have to get splatted by the
Yeah,
claw?
like the very first
claw.
time it comes.
It's got to
through.
be the first time though, so.
Mm.
I was just standing listening to dialogue, and it was like, "Let's go."
And then I tried it again. I missed it the first time, and then I was like, I'll stand here again, and it has to be the first time in the instance.
Yeah.
And then you've got the little mini game of like herding the of herding the survivors,
Yeah.
which
Mhm.
which is a mixed bag of how it works, which I think is fair to say. It's a little bit patchy in how often they listen to you.
It was okay for me, but it just I'm just bad at it. So not many people.
I
know.
liked that it was added in there because it created a sense of like you have to stay in a room that's being attacked. Like when you
Yeah.
could just run out. Like if there was no people to rescue, you could just run through. And yeah, things could be like, the claws could be coming in, but like I think there was this more of this sense of like I was like, come on guys, come on. I had this sense of urgency.
Inks has just turned
We
up
have
in
an
chat.
Inks.
Oh, hey, Inks.
Hey buddy.
If you are good to join us, we can take a moment. I'm gonna have to reconfigure the interface a tiny bit. We can take a minute. You can join our call.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Where was we?
we
We
was
Ran away from the Shatterer.
we're running away from the Shatterer, and Orin runs away for the first time this episode, but not the first time this season. Orin does a lot of
No.
running away.
She does.
I have words to say about this later. Uh, we learn at the end of the first instance that the Shatterer escaped through a hole in reality. They're like,
Yeah.
where did he go? What is this tear in the world right in front of us here? And the NPCs, like Taimy and everyone was just kind of like, what is this? What's going on? And like, as a player, I was like, instantly, I was like, oh, he's in the mists. Like, like obviously that's what that is. But like, the characters were so surprised. They were like, what is
I must
this?
say,
They
it
were
looked
perplexed.
the effect of it looked really cool.
Oh, it definitely
Yeah,
looks super
Like
cool.
the scale of it, and like it was really pretty to look at, and did look kind of like alien and strange. But yeah, I mean, you have to assume it's the mists, or that's the answer to most things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
That-
why? Because the mist.
It did shock me though when they were like, Torque is like in the mists and traveling
Yeah.
through the mists now and
It's-
opening up
it's
reality
super cool.
portals. I was like, holy, like I didn't see that coming.
No,
Did not see that coming. That was
It's
pretty
cool.
cool.
It's
very cool.
it's almost like a way of merging kind of a couple of storylines, because
Yeah, I thought that as well.
the mists and dragon magic have always been kind of very separate entities, and
Yeah.
they're now kind of putting them together a little bit more, which and
it's cool.
and with that kind of reality kind of bending stuff, there's like the next bit of the open world where you go and visit all those different bits and pieces.
That
so
was
you go and see.
really
there were
cool.
so many cool bits, like the battle between the humans and Char and Or.
That was the first one
That
I
was
came
super
across. Yeah, I go in and I'm just like, what's going on here? And when they said it was like like a past battle of Or, what? Like,
yeah, what's going
then
on?
there's like a
Apparently-
poem on the wall that's like that was finally finished that like was
Then-
never finished because you only find it in like a crushed, like a broken state. I didn't personally understand the poem, like if there was any, like if I was supposed to get like a lore bomb from that. I was just kind of like, okay, because they were like, the last line changes the meaning, and I was like, does it? Ah, I have that Orin too.
Aw.
Yeah, the cool thing about the human versus the Char, apparently if you play on a Char, you can only attack the human enemies, and if you play on and if you play on human, you can only attack the Char. So
Yeah.
you can be with your friend, and you're both fighting on different sides of it or something,
Yeah.
which is quite cool.
Oh,
This-
really? If you're in a
I
party,
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you'll fight on different
think-
sides? That's
It's
super
cool, man.
cool.
Did anyone manage to get to the top of the tower? In that, there is a little achievement at the top, but
Oh,
there's
I
also
didn't.
a point of interest.
I
It's
got.
it's the Vizier's tower in Straits of Devastation.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did get that. I think I did get the point of interest. That's really cool. I didn't make the connection for some reason.
That's awesome.
I got to the top and I was like, what? This
That's
is cool.
really, really cool.
It's so much cooler than it just being like a random
Yeah,
tower.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just ties the world together more. Oh,
There's
that's
a
really,
there's
really
a letter he leaves there as well to the King of Or,
cool.
Oh.
where he sort of apologizes for what he's about to do to Or, but he feels like it's the only thing that he can do to save it.
Wow.
Man,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
That is so cool.
Because it's kind of weird because before you never really got the confirmation of how far the Char got into Or during the war, and it's like you sort of, it gives a slightly different angle to kill Bronn, that he waited until the last possible moment to use
Yeah.
the Scepter of Or. And it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, he's not a total.
Yeah, he was
Num-
looking out for Or, you know,
Yeah.
doing what he thought was. It wasn't like some villainous, like, haha thing, you know?
He also confesses in that letter that he has another, like he says in the letter that he has always been loyal to Or,
Mhm.
and that would never waver. He has another lord, a dark lord, so he's mentioning Abaddon in there, which I thought was
Ooh.
really cool.
Nice. It kind of reminds you of how we were killing the dragons and we were just doing what we thought was best,
Yeah.
right? But really
Yeah.
we were messing everything up. Little callback there.
Yeah. It's cool.
But,
and then
another-
the
go
best
ahead.
part was the mushroom.
The mushrooms.
Yeah.
That was
So-
the best section.
So great. Oh my gosh. Now, of course, yes.
want to get high? Oh, come on, everyone wants to get a little high.
Oh my god. Like seeing like ghosts of like just all of the major characters. Scarlet, if you go into that area and you get all crazy, Scarlet is actually the one who runs the adventure. You talk to her to start the adventure. Did you guys do the adventure?
Yeah, I did do the adventure. Oh, it's so cool.
Pies!
It's really...
You're just running around getting pies.
Kill you and...
It's so great. Oh my god. And yes,
seeing
Ritlock's...
Traherne in there made me laugh as well. Like, Traherne's one of the dudes that pops up.
Ritlock's fur is so soft. You guys, you don't even know how soft his fur is.
Alright, guys. Seriously.
Oh man, it was a beautiful little part of little bit of humor, like
it was really
humor
good.
put in there. It was great. Farron running around in like his panties and his little like Christmas hat, little elf hat. I just kept killing everyone over and over because I didn't know if like I was gonna get an achievement for like killing so many people or whatever. But then once they started repeating, I'm like, I've killed Zoja 3 times, so I guess we gotta go. But
also,
that was great.
Yeah. Also, Guild Wars 3 confirmed in space because Taimy says that she doesn't recognize the mushrooms.
That was the thing that excited me the most. I was so excited as soon as she said, these are otherworldly. Like, these are... I've never seen these before. These are from some other place, like, in the universe. And I was like...
That's so cool.
Oh, that's so cool. And I kept hoping that in the same episode we were going to, like, go to another world or hear more about that.
Like,
that
like
was
in The Witcher, you know, when you go through all the different, like, realms in that section. I'd love like something like that, where we go somewhere completely alien. That's just that'd be super.
Well, now that it is apparently so easy for us to travel through the mists, like it ain't no thing anymore. We're like, let's just go to the mists. Let's just it's no big deal.
We'll just do it.
Let's just do it. We got a key.
You know, we're just there. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they could bring that back. That could have been a one-off thing. I don't know, but I think that was that was one of the most intriguing things. Yeah, just like that one line.
Yeah.
I hope they kind of drip feed us more stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like hints that there being like stuff that's just way bigger than just the gods, the dragons, and the mists or whatever. You know, just it's cool.
Yeah. But yeah,
Eternal Mirage in chat says the mushrooms could be from the Ekavald forest. Of course, she did say they were otherworldly. I would think that something from the Ekavald forest would be something that like they at least have record of.
Yeah, she said there wasn't anywhere on Tyria or something.
Yeah.
But
like the planet.
But I don't like any mention. They did look Ekavald foresty. I'll give you that.
And Azuran tunnels do go to Caithe, as confirmed in Guild Wars 1 when you go to the Eye of the North. So you'd assume that they would know. It's an interesting theory, though. It's an interesting theory. I do like it.
Oh yeah, I did hear that out of the mists somewhere you can see a squad of commandos come out. I haven't seen it. I just saw a screenshot of it.
Yeah,
there's actual commandos that come out of the mist.
They've just got like question marks over their head. It's really cool.
So oh man, what? I didn't know that.
It's just great that since the beginning of Path of Fire, they've been able to just drop all of these Guild Wars 1 Easter eggs in, because everyone who played the first game is obviously very familiar with Nightfall, and just got everything. It's like, we can drop the commandos in, we can drop statues in. As we were saying, Justin remapped Jahai Bluffs pretty much note for note, and It's just great. And then
I think they've done a really good job since Path of Fire and maybe before actually, of just really connecting those two games. As I think a lot of people who were Guild Wars 1 boys were it felt a bit of a disconnect with Guild Wars 2. But they're just really gluing both of those games together now, like through lore, through like areas being the same, like we said about the map, and even just the vibe actually, that we're getting that vibe back, that more mysterious kind of thing. I don't know.
I agree. I love where the story's going. It's getting just a little bit darker, a little bit more complicated, a little bit more. It's moving faster. The story I felt moved a little slow in the last season. This season I feel is moving much faster. Yeah. I think we may even wrap up the whole Kralkatorrik thing by the end of the season, which I'm expecting to be 2 more episodes. I'm expecting Kralkatorrik to be wrapped up. and done, and we're on to something
Seriously?
completely new.
I think so. I'm going to be disappointed.
2
though.
episodes?
Yeah, man.
Really?
Well, yeah, because this is
Well,
this.
They said the time is now that Orin needs
Yeah.
to take down Kralkatorrik.
Yeah,
and...
but do you guys not remember the first 75% of Hearthorns where we had to track down our friends? Do you not think the next 2 episodes are going to be tracking down Orin?
Oh,
Oh, Jesus
yeah,
Christ, no.
that's one of
And
my
maybe-
issues with this
And maybe
episode.
when we do, there's going to be some kind of conflict with her, based off last, how he dealt with that whole situation. Like, I think there's more to the Orin thing first. I think season 5 might be all about maybe not leading up to Kralkatorrik, but maybe that deals with that more.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I think 2 episodes is kind of short. Plus, I think a lot of people would be unhappy if it was
Yeah.
a living world.
There's only so much you can do with branded, though, isn't there?
Yeah,
It's
true.
like we're
Right.
purple. You get it. We get it.
Yeah, dude. All right, calm down with your purple.
Yeah.
It's-
I like the purple, but yeah, at some point you got to move on from the purple. You got to move on from the desert.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
some point.
Well, I think what's interesting is that, first of all, I think it is going to be wrapped up in season 4 of Kralkatorrik. The next episode is going to be finding Orin. She's going to go on her own journey, I think, with Vlast and her mother and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Trying to work up the courage to take on Kralkatorrik, because in Orin's mind, or actually all the scenarios that she's run, it's fail. Like, she always dies.
Mhm.
So even if that's her destiny, either number one, she has to accept her own death, which tough to do as a teenager, even
Yeah.
as an adult.
That's kind of rough.
Or number two, we have to find a loophole in order to so that it's successful taking out Kralkatorrik, or rather replacing Kralkatorrik with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't play this section, by the way, you can also see this in Avengers Infinity, because this is the whole thing.
No, Doctor Strange. No,
It's
the
that bit with
cutscene was Doctor Strange.
where- yeah.
Dormammu have come to bargain. It's Kralkatorrik have come to bargain. That's the thing. You got to bargain with him. You can't kill him. That's the thing. She's trying to kill him in all of those flash forwards. You gotta
I've
bargain
seen
with him.
14 million and 65 different
Different
timelines where we
outcomes.
fight Kralkatorrik.
And only one.
How do we?
Man, I don't know what's
succeed.
gonna happen with that though. Like how that cutscene was so.
That
how it
brutal.
kept
that
cried?
cutscene with
Who cried at that cutscene? Inks, did you cry at that cutscene?
Which cutscene?
No.
The
The
bit
one
where Orin
with-
died?
That's
No.
Peachy.
Cor-
I didn't cry.
Corvus, did you cry at that cutscene?
I didn't cry.
Peachy?
I shed some tears at
It was
that
it was
cutscene.
so well
Little-
executed.
Little Orin.
Because a lot of the times in episodes especially, the cutscenes are kind of short. They're really pretty and really cool, but they kind of end quite quickly. But this one was amazing because it just kept going and getting faster and faster, and the music kept building and building,
Yeah.
and it just really, really sent it home that like there's nothing like that she can do, and it made you kind of feel how she would feel, just like, I give
Hopeless.
up, I'm out. Yeah.
I kind of liked that though, because there are times when, and it was kind of guilty of this episode as well. But there are times when Guild Wars 2 has relied on the power of friendship to
Yeah.
overcome adversity.
Yeah.
And there was a bit with Braham and someone who I'll mention a little bit later, where it's like, you have your family, your friends are your family. I was like, oh, for God's sake, really? We're doing
We
this?
are your family.
Heal
We
through
are
the
your-
power of love, Alex.
Yeah,
Heal.
yeah. But the thing is, that's kind of what I liked. That there wasn't this very, very young, not really, not even this young dragon, and then this unstoppable force of apocalypse that is Kralkatorrik.
Yeah.
And they're just like, it's all right. She's plucky. She'll win.
Not like, but that's true, because I remember when I was watching it, I was like, come on, like they're gonna find something.
Mm.
I expected them to be like, this is it, but it just didn't, and I really like how bleak that was. Like it was just like, no,
Yeah, it was cool, man.
there's nothing like that she can do. Like I thought that was really cool.
I shed some tears. It was intense.
But
it was intense. That's what
that's
I
good.
want in my cutscenes. I want it to be intense and make me feel things. But then afterwards she ran away again. again for the second time this
Bye-bye.
episode, not the first time, not the second time this season. And okay, this is where I have issue. We are supposed to have this bond with Orin ever since season 2, ever since Heart of Thorns. We've had this bond with her, right? We are her mind meld buddy, like we are her protector, we are her friend,
A champion.
but instead of keeping her here, I would have been, my emotions would have been destroyed if we would have seen her after that cutscene curled up in a ball in her little nest, like shivering, like she's terrified of what she just saw. I would have been like a bundle. I would have been destroyed. My emotions would have been just.
That would have been
on the floor.
really sad.
Oh my god! And like we have to somehow comfort this dragon that we can't really like talk to in words. But no, she flies away. Where'd she go?
Yeah, but
I don't know.
She's a moody teenager, dude. She's
a
run
moody
home.
teenager. That's okay, but like again, she's gone again. Like she just keeps leaving, and like give me as a player, give me an emotional connection with her because she doesn't talk. So to me, she's like this little puppy, right? She's our puppy. She's our best friend, and so I can't have that connection with her if she's not around.
Her, that plus, I think her development as a character comes purely from like her kind of reactions and emotions, right? Like, because there is no dialogue there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there will be, you know.
There might be in the future, yeah.
But like maybe, more kind of seeing what's going on in her mind through how she acts would be the best way to do it. And I feel like her being, maybe there was just like, maybe she was curled up and scared. And then as we got closer, then she ran away or something. Because at the same time, we're her champion, we're a friend, we're whatever. But we're also kind of making her go through this, you know?
Well,
so maybe she doesn't know if she can trust us because she sees the results of what was going to happen.
When she's
and then sees
us.
And she sees us as the person that's kind of forcing her to do it, right? And so for her to be scared of us, I think would have been a really big story moment.
Like, don't make me do it. That's what a teenager would be like. Don't make me. I don't want to do this. Don't make me do this. Yeah. And that I could have seen if they added that little bit in there of being scared of us, maybe. But I feel like there's this recurring theme of characters just running away, not trusting us, not talking to us. Like Braham, Orin, Caithe. It's like.
You guys remember Marjorie and Casimir?
No.
Who? Marjorie was mentioned in the beginning of this episode. Like,
she was, but it was just like don't worry, guys.
Yeah, don't worry, they're out there. I don't know what they're doing.
The rich princess and the PI who let's be honest, her license has lapsed by now. She's done no work in like the last 3 years on that. Not a single case. No. You know.
The thing is, this happened through last season as well with Lazarus. Like, where are they? I feel like it's been years since we've like.
Well, the story did mention that they lost Krakatoa.
Yeah.
Like, how do you lose a dragon?
Well, he just vanished.
He
vanished.
Yeah,
that's because he went. Yeah.
And then Taimy's like, "Oh, I got a letter from them. They're fine." It's like, awesome.
I think it's like player-based shop. They're just
they're just fine. They're off.
They're off eventually.
They're off doing sexy makeouts. So just let it go. Speaking of Brahm, everyone's favorite character.
Well, should be by the end of this episode, right?
Well, you'd think so, but you're wrong.
I don't know.
His mommy showed up.
A lot of people have sort of come around a little bit. I think, at least on Braham.
Like his biggest characterization this episode is that he doesn't like spiders, right?
Yeah.
And this character that has been, I mean, that was a very cool like fight and instance thing where like he's like the thing, he's like spiders, oh my god, and then you have to protect him, and then the big spider gobbles you up and runs around, and like it
was a cool encounter, but like.
But he's still got no characterization, and the thing is, when they try and develop him as a character, like first of all, Air comes back, right, who we've not seen for 3 years, and she's just like, "Yo, what up? It's me." You go.
Get over
she
it,
smacked Braham in the shake.
Get
she
over
was like,
it,
"Stop
dude.
it! Stop obsessing over me. It's over. We're not gonna. I'm not be your mom.
I wasn't a good
you got
mom.
a family.
I don't want to be your mom. Just shut up. Hang with your friends.
Yeah, just be like, look, just deal with it. You've got a bow. You crack. Just come on, mate. come on, you're a Norn now.
I do like that he was using her bow as she came out
cool.
and was like also using her bow, like but in
Yeah.
spirit form.
Cool,
Like that was really cool.
But on top of that, someone who has had literally 0 player character interaction with the player character since the game release turns up, and everyone likes it more. Because then friggin' Snaff turns up, and everyone's like, "It's my boy!"
Yeah, but everyone was always gonna like Snap.
Yeah, but
Like,
he was cool,
just-
man. And
He's
and then
he's
he gets
always
the
been cool.
and then he gets the interaction with Taimy where she's like, "Hey, Mr. Snaff, sir," which is weird. Also, I've got a very quick question. Zoja's been in a coma for 3 years, so how
Yeah.
does
She
Snaff?
did. She
how-
did.
I know that's the thing, because the only way that Snaff can know about Taimy being Zoja's apprentice is if Zoja's dead.
Yeah, but they know what's
Oh.
going on out of the mists.
That's true.
Let's like Air knows that Braham was being
Yeah.
a little bitch, and she's
Yeah.
like snap out of it. So
Exactly.
so they're watching from the mists.
That's true, I suppose. Yeah.
But then surely he should have said something about Zoja. I've just given up on Zoja, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felicia Day's too expensive these days, so
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know why they haven't just put something in there to shut people up. Like they're doing it with Jory and Cass. Why can't they just do that with Zoja? Just some excuse.
But then
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
it
don't-
feel like shoehorned in, like, here, players, here's your Zoja reference. Are you happy?
guess,
I don't know.
Yeah. It's although
fine.
I would be surprised if we didn't see her in Living Season 5. Because the story does seem to be heading towards a little bit more Azura focused. I think now that you've got Taimy and you've got Blish and you've got Goric, and
Well, we had Blish.
We don't have Blish anymore.
And we're not gonna have Taimy for very long, so I mean,
Oh, God. Ah.
well,
The Asurans have always been there, and their technology and their
Deus
intelligence has
Ex
always been there to lead us along, and you know
Yeah.
their technology. I mean, the whole tracker thing, which
it has been like. To be fair, the Azura have been like, in terms of like how the story develops, they're probably like the most important race. Like, because there's always something. It's Azura tech that is able to do that, or it's some thing that gives us new information or something. But yeah.
So rewinding just a little bit, the scene with Air and Braham was a little bit nitpicky for me. It was a brutal scene. Like she is just
she shut him down.
She is straight up like brutally mean, almost out of character. Like everything she's saying is true.
Yeah.
And the end result is she's trying to instill in him that your friends, Dragon's Watch, that's your family.
Yeah.
Like lean on them for support. Don't shut them out. So I understand her message, but and I think
It was
Bram
quite
felt
forceful.
I think Bram felt and I think us as players felt that there was a connection between Bram and Air right before her death. Like
Yeah, that
she was
moment.
her and Bran were trying to mend that fence.
Yeah.
I think of her being a bad mother.
Yeah.
And then she comes back from the mists and she's just like,
Well, remember, right at the end of the last episode of season 2, there was that interaction of like, maybe when this all blows over, we can go get like an ale or something, right? That was
Yeah.
right before Heart of Thorns, and then
now she's like,
so
nah.
now she's like, just whatever. But then to be fair, it's like they're Norn, so they're probably gonna be a bit more like forceful and straight to the point, like just kind of get over it. And Air died, but in her eyes, it was part of her legend, and it was like to let the
Yeah.
others carry on and stuff like that. So she probably doesn't regret or feel bad about dying or leaving him behind.
I
And
agree
he
with
should
things though
just
that it
kind of
was
move
it was
past.
that littlest bit of just a little bit towards harsh where it should have
Yeah.
been. Like it almost seemed like she was saying like I never cared about you. I never wanted to
Yeah,
be your mom.
yeah.
Like it was a little too close to that side than the, hey, maybe it would have worked out, but it didn't. I died, let me go. Is
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
dialogue should have been more like.
It definitely, yeah, it stood out to me at the time as well. But I just kind of
And maybe
thought
it's-
maybe it was written that way because they're Norn and they just wanted to have that distinction
and
there
it could
or
just be
something.
like a tough love moment, but it was like an
Yeah.
out of the blue. This isn't the narrative that we really experienced with these
Yeah.
two before, and now Aerith's just like,
It's
he's
a bit
like,
of a slap in the face.
you know,
like,
is it
yeah.
too late? Brand's like, is it too late, mommy? And she's like, yes. It's like, damn, what? What a good mom.
But this is the thing. It's like this has been where Brahm has been since Heart of Thorns. It just doesn't
It's
feel
been
like his.
years.
It just
I mean,
doesn't
it's been-
feel
Right.
like his character's developed. It's like he's still like an angry teenager with some mummy issues.
But
And
maybe
I,
that's
and I,
it.
and I
Maybe
get
they
that, right?
wanted
But
to make
it's
it
like,
that.
God, that's brutal. And then Taimy, oh, Lord.
Oh no, hang on.
So Snaff, so Taimy and Snaff, right? Snaff.
Snaff, my boy.
So Snaff is like this character, and I geeked out when I seen Snaff, just like
Mhm.
most people probably. You know how have you ever been asked the question, if you could talk to one person in history, who would it be, and what would you ask them?
Right.
Snaff is that character.
Yeah.
He's your Albert Einstein. He's your whoever you want to talk to in history to ask a question. And Taimy's question is, can I get your input on convex and blah 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 blah? It's like, really, that's your question?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
could have
That's
been
the question
so
you want
much.
to ask Snaff,
Yeah.
like this important figure in history.
It's
That's
like
the question you want an answer to.
it's the whole Braham and Scarlet thing again, where it's like, don't you want to know all the answers? No.
No, no, we do not.
I can give you all the answers. You want to know them? No, I don't.
It's
Jesus.
it's kind of like it's just weird that I mean.
To be fair, it was like she was obviously excited, so maybe her mind.
And,
it
and
slipped
to
her
be
mind.
fair, they had about 10 seconds to talk to these ghosts before they disappeared.
Yeah.
You know, so it was
They were there
I
on a
could see
mission.
it as a geek out moment. You know, you
Yeah.
finally see your idol and you're like, did you like
Yeah.
the Avengers? I don't know. like
Yeah,
you don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say something.
But off the back of that, where do we go next? The
That's what I wanted to say. The
God,
weird
sorry, mate.
spider mist creature. That was cool. That was.
yeah, that was it. Was sort of
I
like
liked it. It reminded me of the Karka a wee bit. Like,
yeah, it did.
The,
It
yeah,
was
the
very
mist
Carvery,
rift
wasn't it?
walkers or whatever they're
Yeah.
called.
It was so cool.
they're
I just
totally
imagined
Karka.
like how they just walk through the mists. I imagine them like really big with super long legs or something.
Yeah.
Creepy. That was
It's
cool.
also just sort of off the back of that, like one of the achievements, destroying all the little nodes. I found that really hard. Maybe it's 'cause
I nearly got it.
yeah, I had
and
like
there were two like in the corner that I didn't see, and then I was like,
Yeah.
I give up.
so it's like right, I need a friend in with me just to cheese this.
Or I'll just leave it.
I don't even look at the achievements till like the second time through.
But then the next instance was cool and weirdly disappointing at the same time for me.
What was
The-
the next one?
Well,
was-
okay, so at the end of this instance, the
Oh, yeah, of
people
course.
start freaking out.
Context.
The people start
Yeah.
freaking out because the
Oh,
dragon
yeah.
ran away. They're like, if the dragon's not gonna go up against the elder dragon, we're doomed. And Blish just kind of comes out of nowhere, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna calm the people down, tell them we have a plan, and like that's totally great. And the commander just kind of goes along with it, like, yeah, we've got a plan. And then we're like, Blish, do you have a plan? And he's like,
it's
I
a
kind of do.
It's a Michael Scott moment.
Yeah.
25
Don't worry.
25 steps. We'll be back in 15 minutes. One step a day.
Get this
We got
company
you
back on
covered.
track. Yeah. They're like, what's your plan? And he's like, let's come up with something. But Blish actually does have a plan, and he comes up with this tracker idea. Let's put a tracker on Kralkatorrik so that we can predict where he's going to come out of the mist, and we can save the people, get the people out of the village.
Mhm.
And this is where all sense of urgency from the previous scene of Orin's vision just goes out the window.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, because Aaron Snaff ultimately came back to tell us that Glint has a message for Orin. We need to tell Orin that she needs to, like, now is the time. This is the time. You need to defeat Kralkatork and take his place. Now. They even say the word now is the time.
Do it now.
She runs away, and we're like, you know what? Let's save the people. Not the world. From Kralkatork. No. Let's put a tracker on the dragon so we can
run away.
So we can go rescue people in villages from Kralkatork's attacks. I was like,
really,
what happened to the right now? Orin's got a job. Like, it for me, it took all sense of urgency out of the situation.
It just didn't feel like a super cool, urgent plan that was actually going to do anything.
Right.
Like, it just, like, sure, it's useful to do that, but it feels more like a setup. It's not like huge cutscene, oh my god, Orin's run away, and
Let's
then
go
do
and
some setup thing. Like, it
took the story in another direction, and I can understand if later on it comes back, hey, that tracker ends up being really useful, which, yes, it's useful, because, hey, if we can track where Kralkatork is, that is a good thing when it comes time.
Gonna be...
But they never never say that in the episode. It's like, hey, it's all about, we're going to save the villagers from being attacked. We're going to go save people when they're about to get attacked by Kralkatork. It was the tracker was all about that. And I was like, I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care about the people in the villages. We've got a much bigger problem over here. But, like, the rest of the episode was about that. So I hope it comes back in. So we got to go look for Balthazar's sword, because we need to attract Kralkatork so we can put the tracker on him. So we're going to use Balthazar's sword to do that.
Yeah.
Which in itself is really cool. Hey, let's go look for his sword.
Yeah.
And then there's some very dicey maths that happen, and then a waste of 3 silver to go to a waypoint. It was just weird. There was like I don't see why the guys from this site couldn't be in Sun's refuge. Like, it's a very minor niggle. It was cool to go back there again. I was just like, really? And then it's like, yes, well, it was sort of like them calculating like a triangle using Pythagoras' theorem. It's like, well, if you calculate the wind speed of a laden European swallow, and then if the explosion did this, but
he was right-handed, so even though he never held the sword in his hand, it floated at his side. So apparently it floated on the right side, and the blast was this way.
I like going back to the other map. Like, it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like, it really was.
But it was also a Wednesday, and as we know, on a Wednesday, he's using his other sword, which is weighted different. I was just like, all right, fine, whatever.
It was literally just go there and then go back.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool to go back to the site where we killed him, but ultimately it was just talk to an NPC and then go over here.
The important thing about it, I think, was just that it gave us a little bit more time with Blish following us around, which the tech of that was super cool. The fact that we're in the open world, you can see all the other players, but he's there with us. I think that's rad, and I hope they use that again.
Yeah. You're right. That was the devices are spending time with Blish.
Yeah, exactly. A cool fact. I think when you're in the open world and he's following you around, all the other players just see like a critter following you.
They
like
see the
animal.
little meerkat.
Oh, that's the
I was
dog.
wondering why there were so many meerkats.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah. Or prairie dog. I'm sorry, prairie dog. Yes. I was like, at one point I said, why are there so many prairie dogs? But that was everybody's
I didn't
Blish.
make that connection. That's interesting.
But I think
that's
that's
later.
quite neat. So I hope they use that technology again.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It was cool.
But the priestess of Balthazar, Zafira, was the one who took the sword. She was very salty that we killed Balthazar.
Awesome instance.
It was cool, but
it was really
frustrating.
Annoyed.
Instance,
I got really annoyed at it.
Very frustrating. But her talking to us in that amplified voice was so creepy. Cool. That was really cool.
It was really cool, and
immersed.
It was so cool hearing kind of like the other side of it, like of somebody who worshipped this dude and acknowledged that he wasn't doing the best things, but it was. I think it was just really cool. A perspective on the whole Balthazar thing.
Yeah.
The instance just made me want to play Thief, because I can imagine with stealth.
Stealth cancels, man. Like stealth and like teleports and stuff. She's she
It-
just smacks you down.
Well,
It's-
stealth gliding seemed to work, but I don't know
oh,
if
did
it's
stealth?
separate from.
I
Yeah, but yeah.
I found stealth really weird. Like I tried to, I did some weird stealth thing and tried to hide a bit, and she just kicked my ass straight away.
There was almost nothing that I mean, I think it was just moving and dodge rolling and hiding behind the things. Like there
Yeah.
weren't any skills that could like get you through it. that
No,
know-
I mean
that
I would
found.
I'd use like the Scourge portal, and I actually used the Flesh Worm to try and
No way,
blink
really.
between cover. Yeah.
I mean, like again, it's something that you could very easily cheese with a couple of mates.
Oh
And, like,
yeah, for sure.
You could just have like the instance owner.
Oh,
do
that's
the
a good
story.
point actually.
and
How
Like
does
I
it
think-
work with multiple people? Does she
I think-
focus just one?
Well, the thing is, I assume that you just send one on it, so you get shot. It doesn't really matter, and then the rest hang out
Right.
outside of the arena because it's not like fighting it takes that long anyway, is it? You
No.
don't have time achievement. She's pretty easy to burst.
Mm-mm.
It's weird though. Like I found it was a really interesting instance, and I thought it's a really cool idea and some destructible terrain as well from her shots, which was cool. But then, like as soon as it finishes, like all that characterization that was built up just disappears completely, and she goes from kind of like a flawed adversary to standard tough girl, and it was like. It's like any depth that she had, she just suddenly became super one-dimensional now that her little bit in the story was done. And
I felt like she was a bit too willing to join our cause. I mean, it took a little while, but like, you know, through talking to her. But I kind of agree. I think like she lost, like she did the whole "and I'm not your friend" thing. But like that was it. Like there wasn't much.
No. There's a bit at the very end. There's a bit at the very end as well where he's like, "So can you tell me a little bit more about?" No.
Yeah, don't ask me.
I love.
I know it's just like.
I was only let down by the fact that the build up to actually finding out who she was, I was convinced that it was going to be somebody we know from like War's history.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, not just
know.
random NPC we saw in the vision for
Yeah.
half
Like, she
a second
kept
if you
saying-
happen to look that direction.
I didn't even see. I didn't know what the hell, like the character was talking about when he said, "I've seen you in the vision." I was like,
Mm.
"Where?" I didn't catch that at all. And the whole time in that encounter, you're like, I think I know that voice, or, you know, have we met before? And I was like, thinking in my head, like, who could it possibly be? Someone.
Oh, Yenny, that would have been
but-
brilliant if it ended up being Scarlet somehow. That would have been like an awakened Scarlet or something, because she did have like the sniper
Let's-
rifle.
Oh,
Let's-
can you
I
imagine?
didn't even
Wait,
think
wait,
of
wait,
that.
wait,
But then why
There
would
are-
she be on?
The ArenaNet staff in chat. Let's not give them ideas.
Don't give them ideas.
No, please. I want Scarlet.
Come on, John.
Please, no.
John, you've had your time. No. No.
But yeah, so I was a little bit let down from that. But that was again, that was only because
I
of
hope
my
she sticks
expectations.
around though. They can I don't know. I hope that character gets developed on. I hope it's not just some
Right, because
dude.
if she's there on the front lines in the battle versus Kralkatorrik, like I hope she has a bigger role than being, you know, a pissy priest of Balthazar.
Yeah.
You know.
So
Maybe she'll ascend, dude.
She's gonna have some sweet skills.
Oh,
Like,
what if she becomes the next god of war and fire? What if
Yeah,
she
dude.
takes Balthazar's place?
I mean, she does have pretty much like fairly hack-exploity range on her Deadeye right?
Right.
So she's a...
God worthy. Then we go back to the whole
So
track.
we get Balthazar's sword, but it's not. There's no power in it.
They need to plug it in.
We have to plug it in. We have
Charge
to, we
it
have to
up.
charge it. And we say we'll Sahothin, of course, is how we charged it, because it charged Sahothin, so we gotta have Sahothin charge it. And so Ritlock and we, the commander, cross the streams, and we
They
charge
cross
it.
stream. Yeah, we do the Harry Potter thing with the wands, and then
By the way, why does Balthazar's sword have a name? Like it's never.
yeah, it's Balthazar's sword.
yes,
Like there should
think
be
that's
an
that's
epic
what it's
name
called.
for this legendary sword, and it's just Balthazar's sword.
its official
Edgar.
name is Flippy the Sword.
Flippy the sword.
It's officially
That's
Flippy.
Swordy McSwordface.
and then so they charge up, and then what? They have to.
Well, Blish wants to go. We have to go into the mists. This is our brilliant plan: is we go into the mists.
This is the finale, which, by the way, is a cracking instance.
Really good.
Just so
it's crazy.
good.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Super pretty and just it's very good.
Buggy.
Cool.
Aww.
Is it buggy?
I got the bug where you can only go way on the left side to progress. I was scared for a second.
Really?
Yeah, I got it.
There was a bug that if you take the slightest turn, you insta die as well. But
Yeah.
I didn't get that one.
I
either.
had no bugs the whole time.
Good.
The only bug I had was when you're protecting Blish, no monsters showed up. So I just
Oh, that's a horrible
Really?
bug.
I
Oh.
used that there, and
That's
I'm
such
like,
an awful bug.
I'm like, are there supposed to be monsters?
Oh,
It's
no.
like protect Blish, and I'm like, okay,
From what?
I'll just stand here.
Okay.
Is that you see dudes fighting in the distance, like over the little tiny hill bit, and I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if I meant to fight those or not. But I just stayed back and then
Right,
killed
yeah,
like the two
yeah.
dudes that came.
Yeah, I kept wanting to
It-
run off too because I saw other things in the distance. I was like, no, stay with Blish, stay with Blish.
David
No,
Blish.
they will come
It-
to him.
Yeah, it was cool, and I really like it. I really like the way that it looked a lot like when you go into the mist in the Path of Fire campaign, that sort of grey-white sand kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It just felt like that even though there's stuff going, it felt very open and very desolate and sort of like that otherworldly, eerie kind of thing.
Yeah. I was,
It
I,
was-
I thought it was really pretty. I would have liked more of that weird, like, shattered reality thing.
Yes,
Like
definitely.
when we're trying to get into Cormier's realm or whatever in the campaign, like
Yeah.
you saw like weird shards of stuff like floating
Yeah,
around.
floating in
and,
the
like,
air was very like distant. This was just
Yeah.
kind of like it was very cool, but it was
Yeah,
almost
really
like
cool.
I'm just in another desert somewhere, like I'm
Yeah.
just in the sands.
It did feel alien. I liked how white it all stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
And then tragedy strikes.
The
Yes.
sword fights back. The sword's like,
Yeah.
nuh-uh, you ain't putting tracker on me. It just like,
Uh-uh.
psh. It's like, yes, I got the tracker on. We're ready to go. Psh. The sword just like puts out this energy and breaks the power source of the tracker.
Yeah. And then so
Inconveniently.
yeah.
Blish.
Got scared, like
Then
Orin
Blish-
wanted to run away.
And
then
then
Blish-
Blish has to stay there. To
Blish
make
rips
sure it
himself.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blish
There-
commits Sudoku.
There was a
really
lot of
well done.
conversation between the commander and the and Blish. Like the commander, like I got the sense, like we do not want to leave him, even
Yeah.
as we're running away on
Yeah.
our mount. We're just like, are you like, come with me? Are you coming?
Yeah.
Abandon ship, you know, the abandoned mission. And
It felt really.
he's
It
just
was.
saying, go,
It
go,
wasn't
go.
like a kind of cliche sacrifice. Go on without me thing. It really did feel like, no, you're coming with me.
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
gonna leave you here. Like it felt really real, and really, again, urgent and just like, I don't know. It was. They did a really good job of not making it like, you know, I'll always remember you, Blish.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, it felt a bit more like sincere, and the fact that they kept that dialogue up the whole time as you're running out and
Mhm.
stuff was so key in making that like an emotional moment. Because if
Yeah.
it had just been we run off and then have to do the little jumping thing, which was really cool by the way,
Yeah. Awesome.
it
I
wouldn't
died
have
so
felt-
many
it wouldn't have
times.
resonated as much. I must say as well, I think Blish has to be like the first Azura character that I've really, really enjoyed. Like
Yeah.
there's always
I-
that kind of we're Azura, we're annoying and kind of whatever, clever. Blish, I don't know if it was his voice or something, but like he was lovely. I love that dude, and it was really sad having to go and leave him there.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's the thing of like, don't leave me, don't leave, or it's like we're not gonna leave you, and then they go, no, go on without me, and then most of the time I'm like, all right,
All right,
see you later. Yep, we're off.
Because he's like,
mean-
I'll be fine. I'll catch up with you. But
Yeah.
then once you're gone, he's like, nah, actually, I need to
Nah,
stay
yeah,
here.
Actually, sorry.
I'm getting-
Oh
Right.
no, you tricked me, Blish. I really
It's like,
thought you were gonna catch
Oh
up.
no, I should come back for you.
You're this tiny
But-
robot with like 0 legs, and I'm on my raptor. I was
Yeah.
really expecting you to catch up.
Yeah, man.
But I did
And-
he's
but-
like, I'm taking my higher functions offline now. And this is remember
It
in
was,
the
like,
last episode
proper, like-
where he was stuck in that box without his higher functions.
Yeah.
And he was describing how terrifying it was.
Aw,
Not
man.
having any feeling, any sight, any so this is the tragedy, is he's stuck in that forever now.
He's trapped in
He
the Matrix.
willingly trapped himself in that box to save
Who would have
everyone.
thought that taking part in barbaric transhuman experiments would result in an eternity, no emotion, and trapped in mechanical box?
It kind of reminded me of the whole Snaf situation, right? Like of having his mind potentially trapped inside Crocotargs, which I mean, I guess is not the case now.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
you know, that was a huge mystery from the book that people were thinking maybe he's still in there, or maybe he's trapped somewhere, and we're going to be able to get at least his personality back. And so I kind of thought that was kind of like a nod towards the whole Snap thing, and maybe it was like a little, I don't know, like a mirror situation. I really liked it. But yeah, it was sad as hell. And then when we get out of the portal,
Oh, before we do, could we just talk about the escape? Because
Oh, yeah,
it,
sure,
it
sure,
went,
sure.
It went all like Mistlock Sanctuary on us with the
yeah,
low
it was
gravity.
super cool. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it's not like the storm in the background. It's not just ambient. It chases you. So if you stay
Yeah,
still
it
too long,
does, yeah.
it catches up with you. And
I
You
didn't
stop-
look. I didn't look behind me.
If
People
you
in
stop
stream
and look
later,
back at the storm, it's really cool. It's like this bubbling purple wall that's like
Purple,
coming to
yeah.
get you. It's pretty cool. I couldn't stay on the damn rocks. I fell. I probably
Really?
fell 20 times and had to
Although-
retry from checkpoint.
yeah, I mean, I'm not totally sure why Glint didn't open up a portal like right next to us.
Glint,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Glint was talking to us while we were in there.
Yeah,
she
She was.
Yeah.
She was like,
And-
she was telling us to get out. She's like, get
Yeah,
out of
and I
here,
was
it's
like-
dangerous.
It's like no, it's like we appreciate that, Glint, but what we don't appreciate is this weird zero gravity,
Jumping puzzle. we have to
pitfall
do, yeah.
jungle adventure thing that we have to do. just put it there, like 100 yards in front.
Bro, you
Fine.
don't know how the mist works, dude. You don't know how the mist.
By the way, we just walked into the mists. We just walked in.
Yeah,
But
how
to
did
get
we get
out,
in?
we got to go
Through a
through
portal,
dodge.
I can't.
I have no
who-
idea how we got in. By the way, I have no
who
idea
gave
how
us
we
the
got there.
portal? I can't
Well,
remember.
because the branded were coming out of the portal, so we just walked in.
We
with
just
it.
walked
Oh
in.
yeah, that's
Yeah. I don't know. It's like
Simple
in Path of Fire when they said like we have to go to the mists, my mind like exploded. I was like, we're going into the mists, like what? And now
It
it's
was
just
the-
like, let's
one of
go.
the biggest.
yeah.
moments.
Let's do it.
Hey
again.
guys, let's go to the mists.
Back in. Let's go.
It's fine.
Anyone fancy one of the mists tonight?
rewinding a little bit too. Did nobody else feel the foreshadowing of Blish's death through the entire
Oh
episode?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Like I knew
I-
he was gonna die.
I think it was the second
Yeah.
instance. I was like, Blish is dead. He's dying
Yeah.
this episode.
I mean,
But I
he was-
loved how they built it up, though. Like it was kind of teased throughout it, or they at least set the tone quite early on. But like, I really appreciated that we had that time with him and a lot of dialogue with him.
Yeah, I think that was
throughout
done
the
well.
episode.
Mhm.
Yeah. It didn't
I mean-
feel like a death that we saw coming a million years ago, like with the air. You know, the second it was like, maybe we can get some beers after this is all blown over. It's like she's dead.
and I think like it's kind of interesting that Blish that Blish in our story, or in the story of the commander and Krankatorek, and that he could have been replaced with anybody, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean this in a bad way, but the way that Blish has really worked, and this is the payoff at the end of the episode, is that they wove his relationship with Taimy really well into how he interacted with the commander. So all of this stuff about him being in a golem and like everyone, we all just thought Taimy was mental when she was just like, "Ooh, I want to go into a golem." We're just like,
Yeah.
he's like, he didn't do this on purpose. It was an accident. He was just messing around, and now he can't
It
get
was
back
beautiful
out.
how
you
she
know?
appreciated him though, and
Yeah.
how he had the perfect
Yeah.
body that was, because she's struggling with the disability. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And-
it's just great writing. I think so much of why we cared, yeah, he was a good character, but also just because Taimy cared about him, there was a
Yeah.
lot of importance put on him by the other people, So I don't know, it was just good writing. It felt like it was Trahern's death was really good for me personally.
Yeah.
From a delivery and
It was like that last 5 minutes when there's like, you know what, Trahern's all right. Oh,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
dead. That's
exactly.
a shame.
But like it was one of the best, I think probably maybe the best death they've done.
Yeah.
It wasn't out of the blue, which can be really good if it's like blunt and like, oh my god, like just out of nowhere they're dead. But
Yeah.
I felt like from an
Ez's
emotional standpoint, yeah, exactly. But from an emotional standpoint, it was really well done. I liked it.
So talking, well, the crux or the cliffhanger and the big
after we leave the portal first, there's what's the other dude? Can't remember his name.
Gorik, his brother.
Yeah, that was.
We have to
sad
deliver the
as
news.
hell,
That
man.
was sad, man.
That was sad as hell, dude.
Yeah.
Like just him, like just talking over you, like he knows already, but he just doesn't want to think about it.
Yeah.
The voice acting was really good too.
Oh, it's
Really
so
well done.
good, so good. Like the last instance, or the last, this episode just they really pulled it out at the stop somehow. And like the secondhand story, like the stuff with Vera, like it kind of falls away a little bit. But when you focus on the core characters that we've had with them, it's just like, yeah, right on.
Really well done.
Really done it right this episode. And I know that I'm usually very harsh when it comes to ArenaNet's storytelling, because my expectations are like way too high, and I expect them to be writing Tolkien-esque epics in every living story episode, and I will accept no less than 3 separate elven languages every 3 months. You know.
Don't make Guild Wars 2 Elder Scrolls, please.
But no, it was so good, and I was like, and I kind of had a feeling I knew what was coming, and I was just like,
it just paid off really well.
Yeah, it's like I don't usually care about this stuff, but I was like, Gorik, my man.
Yeah,
my
that
man,
was so
Gorik.
sad.
And then
he tells us to stop keeping secrets from each other.
Yes,
that was the core. That was like one of his final words to us: stop keeping secrets from one another.
And when he said that, I was like, oh man.
Yeah. Oh, someone's gonna reveal something.
What's the secret?
Hang on.
What?
But yeah, and then sorry, the big reveal is that
Taimy's still sick.
And it's getting...
So here's my thing about the Taimy being, besides the fact that I laughed at her. I'm sorry.
You guys were horrible. Go watch their clips on their channels. Both of them were very, very bad.
Sad.
No, I didn't cry. I didn't cry either, but I didn't laugh.
Well, I think that's what's good though. I think it wasn't delivered as it was meant to be sad, but it wasn't like a crying.
There wasn't a violin in the background,
Taimy's
gonna die.
It was just like bad news, you know? Like it was just really bad news.
Yeah.
And like Braham when he knelt down and stuff, like it was sad. It was
showing
sad.
that relationship between Braham and Taimy again, because they were super close in season 1. That was really nice.
Yeah. Really. Like she's, on the one hand, it's like thank God she's dying, but
wow.
Whoa.
What? Oh.
Fired.
Like
she's not dying. She's not gonna die.
No, she's not.
They're gonna put her brain.
In all seriousness, if she doesn't die, it completely invalidates every single positive thing I've said about this episode. One of the bear with me. One of the really frustrating things about the reboot of Doctor Who is that Stephen Moffat can't have people die. Like people come back and they have like get out of jail clauses, whether in alternate dimensions, some nonsense where they're not actually dead, and that infuriates. If you're gonna kill somebody and you're gonna set something up for them to die, have them die.
No, sure, but I don't think this is a setup for a death, though. I think this is just a setup for
her life
like,
is just really tough, Alex.
Yeah, be a bit sensitive, dude.
Nah, it's a setup for somebody else to die, saving her. Whatever
I think
the cure
it's a setup of they introduced Blish, and I think she's gonna get the Blish treatment. I think her mind's gonna go into Scruffy.
That's
gonna happen.
that's kind of what I was thinking, that they'll end up putting her into Scruffy 3.0 or something.
Yeah,
But-
I don't think it's a setup for a death. I think it's a setup for a solution.
A transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was kind of really cool about it was suddenly, like, her fascination with wanting to be in the golem body, and like we knew she was handicapped and all that, but you know, the Azura had the technology for prosthetics and all that kind of thing. But it was just like that she's got a timer that's ticking down now, and it's like this does not, like, the situation does not end happily for Taimy. And it's like having that, and I want to kind of cast aside the fact that I don't Taimy as a character, but having something like the implication that this character is going to die, so we have to start savoring the time that we have with her. She now has an impetus to be the best Azura that she can be, rather than just being like, oh, I can just muddle along and
do that.
And
I think as well, her silly little jokes or whatever now come from a different place. It's not like an annoying comedy relief character. She's having to cope with something, and maybe this is
She did say like she was in constant pain. Sometimes she can barely think. Although we haven't ever really seen that. Like,
but maybe
I felt like I almost forgot about her disability, like as she's been growing, like throughout the past couple seasons.
So that's my point. Did we ever know that her disability was in remission?
She seemed to be getting stronger. She was growing taller. Like, I think it was kind of implied, but no, it was never explicitly told to us. I don't.
Her adult Azura can't anymore, or she certainly doesn't limp as much as she used to when she was tiny. So, like, you get this passive impression that she's getting better.
Right.
But,
yeah, I think that's it. It's all implied. Like,
she never said, "Hey guys, I've got some good news. It's in remission."
I just didn't even realize that it was ever in remission. I just figured it was something she lived with.
Yeah, same.
And so, like, the thing is, I mean, I think she has to die. I genuinely think, even I can see that look on Peachy's face, and I feel really bad because I know that I know that a lot of people like her, and I know that a lot of people aren't that keen on her. But I think to have the emotional to continue the emotional impact that the end of this episode has, she's either got to die at the end of season 4 or at some point in season 5. You can't just go, I am definitely dying, and then have like some Deus Ex Machina that just goes, oh, by the way.
But it won't be Deus Ex. It won't be Deus Ex because
it's been set up.
Yeah, it's been set up with Blish.
But who else has the knowledge to do what Blish did?
Gork's the one who put Blish in the golem.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Gork even says, "But I saved him," as he
But Gorik, but surely seeing what's happened to Blish will make Gorik not want to do it again.
I don't think it'll stop him.
Possible.
Because essentially what you can do now is you have, even though there's somebody in the golem, you there have a piece of dispensable machinery if you really need it. You know,
Herotron. He's like Baitotron in the open world. He's like, I'm just bait because I'm just the golem. Granted, there's not a human or like a person inside of it.
Maybe they just have to box Taimy's brain up somewhere. You know?
Right.
No, but that's when you start getting weird, like Shodan type things, man. And
and then there's two Taimys in the Inquest steal Taimy's brain and make their evil Taimy and
there's like evil Shodan Taimy who starts getting mentally affected. By the way, Arena John, if you're listening, please do that. That sounds amazing.
What I kind of wanted to get out of it, and what I think kind of would have made it more to me, like sad, was because she said that Blish was the only one she told, because she was, she's known him for a long time, and didn't she say something like they were working on like a solution, or they were she thought that he could come up with some kind of cure. So I thought when Blish sacrificed himself, if that was true, that Blish was the only one that could come up with a cure, that when he sacrificed himself, he also kind of sacrificed Taimy.
Yeah.
But that's
But
like
no, but-
nobody thinks that's
yeah.
true. That like Goric can't come up with a solution, can't come up with
Well,
a
she
cure,
said
right?
though, like if
notes.
anyone could come up with a solution, it was him. I think she said.
Yeah, I think that's how she worded it. You're right.
And I think as well, maybe that's why he told her to not keep secrets, so she could try and get help
Oh,
from
yeah,
somebody
that's true.
else.
Yeah.
So here's what's really interesting too, and I don't know if you guys noticed this in this episode specifically, but also the previous episode. One of my complaints has always been that Taimy has all the answers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You have a problem, Taimy has the answer. That shifted as soon as Blish came into the picture. She somehow
Yes.
is not nearly as intelligent as Blish, even though for many episodes we've heard that Taimy is the most intelligent Asura to ever have lived. Like,
Yeah.
and she sort of took this back seat to Blish, and kind of even in many cases, even the commander is saying, "Well, what's the solution?" And Taimy says, "I don't know, Blish. What's the solution?" Like,
Yeah. You're
just
right.
turn her brain off. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
weird.
No, I agree. I agree. I mean,
We'll have to see what's on.
So do we think that Taimy's going to die with a vote?
Yes,
Well,
but no.
there's the whole like thing of, oh, she's a kid, so they can't kill a kid and keep their
She's
age
not.
rating,
that's why
right?
she's growing.
That's why she's growing, but maybe
Again now.
the golem thing kind of circumvents that. But it's also like
Right.
if she survives and gets put into a golem, what, just to die the next episode or something because she can now? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea, honestly, if she will. I feel like if she does die, I think I would rather that. Not because I don't like her, but because I think it would make a really emotional
It would make an impact on
story
the story.
moment. And it would also
Give
be
you fear
because
that
of...
main characters can die.
And also
Which
the
we've
nature of
had.
it means it's a slow decline, which means it's gonna have a lot of setup. Maybe we're away in
Can I
the
die
world
again?
somewhere else. Yeah, but maybe we
Yeah.
just get the news while we're somewhere else, and it's just like she's dead.
No,
You know, like,
no,
I think that'd be-
they won't do that.
That'd be cool.
I think she's gonna.
Can I just get a letter when I log into the next episode saying Taimy's dead?
Taimy's dead.
Just that's it.
Next expansion,
sorry,
Revenant gets
Commander, you're
Taimy
stuck with
legend.
Goric now.
There you
Let's
go.
have it from someone. Let's have it come from completely irrelevant, like E or your Herald or something as well.
Taimy's dead.
It's gonna come from like Zafira, right from the
Yeah.
Sun's Refuge. Hey,
Hey,
Not
she's
your
dead.
friend, but your friend.
awakened
He's not your
Taimy.
friend, but-
Oh wait,
But one of
Actually, that would be a great line for Goric. He'll just call you on the phone and say, "Listen, Taimy's dead. By the way, we have another problem. Like, just brush it
Yeah.
over like it's nothing."
and you're like,
Oh, the next legend could be Snuff. Yeah, I like that. actually.
thanks, Legend.
and see
could
that's
be
the thing.
smacked.
Even if she does die, there's no golem transfer, there's no cure. She dies. Then she's in the mists. I mean, we saw Aaron snap
Yeah,
this episode, right?
You know, we go to the mist all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
we just-
honestly, I just don't think she's gonna die. Her physical body will die, but I'm almost positive they're gonna transplant her into a golem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Buffy or
Yeah, me-
whatever.
Agree.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm gonna be really disappointed if they do, but like,
I think it's the
Yeah.
most likely thing, and I wouldn't mind too much.
it's sort of like that thing that you know there's the story about George R.R. Martin, and he won't kill, or he said in interviews that he'll never kill Arya because Arya's his wife's favorite character. It's like Tommy's quite obviously everyone's favorite character at ArenaNet, and
At ArenaNet, sure.
yeah, come on, not in the community, Jesus.
What's her wee Chak thing that she's been experimenting on? Thorns. What's that guy called?
Wasn't it Steve? Wasn't it that little bit of glue
Yeah,
kind
the chalk
Maybe
organ.
they could put her brain in that. That'd be cool.
She becomes a floating
Is
blob
of
of
Spencer?
Just like a weird
Spencer-
alien thing.
Spencer,
Spencer.
yes.
That's it.
Steve's the underwater dragon.
Steve's the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love that. Like a little
Where is Spencer?
dude.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
But that's
Yeah.
the thing that they had. Like, if she's gonna die, they have to resolve the Dragon Lab arc as well, don't they?
Nah.
Well, not
We
really,
just
because
Yeah, but-
moved on from that.
Flunt took over
Yeah,
the
Flunt's
Dragon Lab.
like in charge of Rada Novus now.
Yeah, oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So
Um.
we're in the desert doing stuff.
Yeah. But then, yeah, yeah, she won't die. But then, guess who turns up? Only the greatest Guild Wars 2 character ever. and I'm not being sarcastic, by the way. If I kid you not, if Fiddler had been a girl, he would have been called Caithe.
Really?
Yep.
Why? I don't like Caithe that much.
Because Caithe's awesome.
She's cool, but like, I don't know.
Caithe in the books is way cooler than Caithe in the game.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
No, Caithe will shank a
yeah,
bitch.
what the hell? She just turns up.
Oh,
with
she
Farron.
will. That she will.
Oh, we found out Farron's first name, didn't we? That was
I thought it was Lord.
It's Lord
It was
Bob
Bob.
Farron, I think.
Lord
His
Bob
first name
Farron.
is
That's right.
Bob.
Yeah.
Bob.
Which is, of course, it's Bob.
Cool.
It's
But,
interesting
no,
that Caithe shows up because I think she'll probably help us track Orin.
Well, that's what she
Yeah,
said.
Yeah, but then
She
she'll
says,
steal
"I'm gonna
Orin and just
help
Side
you.
turn.
I may
Or
know
the
how to
side
find
turn,
Orin."
traffic
It's
order.
kind of like she gets us back on track. Like, oh yeah, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Let's go find Orin.
Wait a minute, aren't you supposed to be guarding the empty egg chamber? What are you doing
Dude,
here?
she stole Orin years ago. She's gonna steal Orin another time.
she. Okay, the
you
player
just imagine
character.
like dragging about its
The
tail.
I
player,
know
listen,
last time I
Caithe
stole
is
her
gonna
when she
pull a
was in an egg.
Traherne. She's not. We're not gonna ride Orin. Caithe is gonna ride Orin. We will never get to ride her. It's gonna be Caithe.
Damn it, Caithe,
Calling
I'm her
it now.
champion. Get off.
Well, Caithe and Orin already had this very special relationship straight off from when Caithe nicked the egg.
Yeah.
And Caith's always been there for like when she hatched and when she was looking after her. So it kind of stands to reason that Caithe has been, even from like the shadows, been following Orin as you go. And Lugos in chat is right that Orin Caithe's wild hunt. She thought, I think she thought it was originally to kill Zaitan, which was what Traherne's was as well. But it turns out
No. Traherne's was to cleanse Or.
Yeah, it wasn't to kill.
He
Oh,
failed
fail.
because he's still dirty.
mate, sort it out.
But I don't really know what the hell's going on with Caithe. I'm happy to see her again for sure. And
I mean,
the cool mystery, a cliffhanger, I'm into that. But like I don't know what the hell she's doing.
first of all, she
Say again,
Then-
Alex.
she murdered her girlfriend,
Yeah.
and
I
then
remember.
her next girlfriend got transformed into killed her as well.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? When was her girlfriend?
Yeah, oh come on, they were totally. They were
were
totally.
banging,
They were
dude.
totally a thing
They were
before.
banging, man.
They were banging.
No,
They were doing leafy salad sex, and you know it.
Oh my god.
Hashtag
They were
leafy
not.
salad sex.
But after her and Fallon broke up, her and Wynn had a thing, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
Sure. It's called tossing a salad.
Tossing a salad. Oh my god, dude.
Oh.
Oh jeez.
Anyway.
Anyway, so Caithe is back.
But yeah, okay. So the point that Caithe has, she's had a lot of stuff to deal with, to kind of go through it. And even in season 2, there's the bit where you throw the seeds around to see your memories and that kind of thing. That you know she had a large part in how the Nightmare Court developed into what it was, and even I mean just through her relationship with Fallon, and like she's obviously got a lot of baggage. So there's obviously she's been off dealing with that, and maybe also she's probably been looking after helping Pale Tree recover as well, because I think is Caithe first or second born as well.
Firstborn,
She's
but
firstborn.
she's been in the egg chamber most of this time.
Yeah, like I've totally gone blank. Where did we last leave her? Because we saw her and it was like, I don't expect you to trust me again.
No, we went through all of that in
was-
season
and that
3. I'm
was
so done
right.
with the you should trust me
Oh,
again.
yeah.
Blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, we trust you.
But
You're
what
right.
did-
We left her in the egg chamber because she was
Yeah,
protecting
in Path
baby
of Fire.
Orin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what? She's
always
hasn't-
been protecting Orin and the egg. That like you said, that's her wild hunt. So
And
Yeah.
in Path
It
of
makes
Fire,
it-
Orin leaves.
yeah.
And she actually contacts us and says, Orin left. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So it makes sense that she's been following around Orin in the shadows because she slinks around in the shadows. That's what she does. and Orin
I
is
still wish
protecting
we'd
Orin
seen
is her
her.
wild hunt, so that's what she's been doing. But the stop
Yeah.
keeping secrets from each other, I think kind of, everybody's kind of, and
Yeah,
now we
maybe.
need to find Orin. That's very important. So she comes out of the shadows, says, "You need better security," and says, "I can help you find her." So I think it was just kind of a guide, for a lead-in for the next episode to get us back on track, saying we need to find Orin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Stop messing with the tracker thing. Let's find Orin.
That's
That's what we need to be concentrating on right now.
Well, I'm happy that she's back. I hope we're with her for most of the next episode. Like just, because there's been so many characters that I feel have just dropped off the radar. Like, sure, there's reasons or excuses for them to be elsewhere doing other things, but I miss, logging in and talking to Logan or Caithe or like Jory and Cass, for Christ's sake. Like, I don't know. I am not sick of the characters we've been with, but I just want some variety in the cast. If you know what I mean.
Sure.
I want to have it branch out a bit and remind us that, oh yeah, Caithe exists.
Yeah.
Jory
still not-
exists.
I'm still not over Destiny's Edge not being the main bunch of NPCs.
They're long
just-
gone.
I mean, Logan's way up at the pack. No, we've, Ritlock.
Yeah.
We've been lucky to have around a bit, but
Yeah, it's just, I mean, obviously Air's dead and Zoja's in a coma.
Zodra
And
exists.
Zoja
Kanak.
exists.
Where
Kanax,
Kanak, though?
he was in the last episode, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, Canuck played
Yeah,
a
he
big
was.
role in the last episode.
Yeah, where is he now? I don't remember.
Just hanging
that.
back.
He's around. Well, he never joined Dragon's Watch. He said, "I'm staying on my own. Like I'm on your side, but I
I'm an
work
independent
solo."
operator.
Yeah,
which I respect that. Like
He's
yeah,
gambling.
really calm.
Yeah, that's right.
he's gambling on our lives.
But yeah, but yeah, it was cool. It's nice to see. It's great to see Caithe again because Caithe is my favorite out of the originals, and yeah.
So to wrap up and kind of come back to what we mentioned in the beginning, do you guys think that this season is going to wrap up Kralkatorp? Do you think Orin's going to ascend to Elder Dragon by the end of this season?
I think by the end of season 5, Orin will be an Elder Dragon. Taimy will die between now and mid season 5. I think a really good ending to the season will be Taimy dying. I think a really kind of emotional crux to the end of the season will be Taimy dying, and then the next bit, and then the next season is just like one long 80s montage where we train Orin to be an Elder Dragon. Yeah, and then she's there like lifting weights and then doing press-ups.
Running upstairs.
Yeah.
My view isn't actually that different. I think that's a really good estimate of how things will go. I don't think we're going to do Kralkatorp season. I think we have 2 episodes left of season 4, and I think the ending will either be something like Taimy dying, or something happens next episode, and then in the finale we have to save Orin from something and remind her of who she is and what her job is, or something. Like there'll be an ending to do with Orin that'll be like, we have her back and she's ready to do this, and then season 5 will start. I don't think there's going to be that much downtime between 4 and 5 though. I think the finale, I think it'll be maybe like a tiny bit longer than between episodes or something max, or it could just keep going as a new season, like with the same cadence. But
Yeah.
I think season 5 will be the Kralkatorp stuff, or at least a build up into the next expansion, which will be very much about dealing with Kralkatorp. But I do feel like that's quite a long time, between like the start of the Kralkatorp arc and actually putting him down. So I do think there's potential for Kralkatorp to be wrapped up in season 5, just because it would be like the longest campaign against any one dragon otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a different spin.
Yeah, but I don't know. I definitely think it's gonna be either next season or expansion. I don't think season 4.
So here's my spin. Episode 5 is going to be tracking down Orin and coming up with a solution to fight Kralkatorp. Episode 6, we fight Kralkatorp and replace Kralkatorp with Orin. Season 5 is going to be dealing with the consequences of replacing Orin with Kralkatorrik, and she turns a little bit evil, I think, a little bit corrupt with power, and we as her champion have to bring her back towards the light and regulation.
I like that. I tell
Jesus.
you what, right? I think. What?
Your mic spiked really bad. You're good.
Oh,
You're
dude,
good.
sorry. I really like that idea. I like if that's the case, what you just said. I would be over the moon. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But I still am not convinced. I think maybe we could fight Kralkatorrik, but something goes wrong. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be like done just in 2 episodes. But I don't know.
I think I agree most with Inks. I think that maybe I also agree it's going to be 2 more episodes, season 4. I think that maybe we could do the fight. We're all ready to fight Kralkatorrik, and we go to fight him. We're certain we're going to win, and something goes wrong. You know, something we don't foresee. I think Kralkatorrik's going to go down, but maybe Orin. You know, I can imagine when Kralkatorrik dies, all of the magic comes out of him, which is insane at this point. The amount of magic that's in Kralkatorrik goes into Orin. That's what grows her, right, into Elder Dragon. But I don't know, like the magic is still not balanced. Something's still off. Something we didn't foresee, and maybe Glint could show up. That could be like the finale. Glint shows up and says like, we've got a problem. Like, I thought this was going to fix things with the magic, but it didn't. And so this other thing we have to go do to balance the magic. And then season 5 is dealing with where because season 5, I think, has to take us to a new area of the world, right? Possibly a new continent. And...
No!
Maybe.
Not necessarily.
No, I don't think
I want something fresh, like something really fresh.
It's got to be out of the desert. Season 5, we've got to be done with the desert after season 4. Yeah. So we've got to go wherever that might be on the Tyria as a planet, whether it's still in Tyria, the continent, or not. I think this balance of magic is we have to go somewhere. Maybe Orin settled somewhere, and we have to, like Ink said, we have to go deal with her or whatever this imbalance of magic is.
I want something new for the franchise, like because we've not really strayed out of Guild Wars 1 yet at all, really. And like Path of Fire and season 4 so far have been like a huge nostalgia trip, which is cool, but I want something new for Guild Wars 2. Like even Maguma, you know, that was in Prophecies. Like it's not like it's brand new or anything. So like I want like
you want to go to like a continent on Tyria we've never heard of.
Yeah, well, or at least somewhere like the Homelands or something that's just a bit more new.
We're at the Homelands in Guild Wars 1 as well.
Yeah, I know, but like I mean like just something a bit fresh. I feel like that's I don't know. I think
actually no, that could work out, because you could have the first episode kind of, you could have a little bit of a look at the fallout of Kralkatorrik waking up.
You totally that out.
Yeah. What, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang it! I said you could have a little bit of kind of cross-play between the desert stuff and whatever if you went to the Bloodlands or the Char Homelands for when because that's where Kralkatorrik woke up, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
there's got to be a transition. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see something to do with Lissa in the next.
That would be amazing.
Kind of thing. Just because they keep dropping little hints about Lissa's been up to Summit, or if it turns out that Balthazar's just been nicking her jewelry, I'm just going to be a little bit, you know. So, well, first I took her mirror and then I took her ring.
I think though that
Joker had the ring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Joker had the ring. Yeah.
I still think maybe it's too soon after Balthazar to do another god story.
Yeah, true.
But I don't know what else they would do.
Yeah.
I think they should just
a new villain.
A new.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if they just I reckon if that's what they wanted to do over the next 2 or 3 years, they focus on just getting the dragons out of the way, getting the dragons out of the story, and then from there they tie up all of the old stuff, and then they're just like, right, we've done taken the first decade to tie up loose ends from the first game, and then they can sort of like forge
then
their
Guild
path.
Wars
You want them to go just completely new direction, like something we've
Yeah,
never heard of in the franchise. I'd be
absolutely.
down for that. I'd be totally down for that.
Because I mean, they are a little bit bad for it. That there are just loads of loose ends, and there's quite a few that are still very integral to the story, like Jormag and Primordus just being asleep or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I still thought was a colossal cop out. Like that still has to be dealt with.
Well, maybe
You know?
the two dragons at once thing will happen
Yeah.
with that next or something. I would love maybe Orin just absorbs all of the dragons, becomes a super dragon, and then she can fly us to like where the gods brought the humans from or something. And there's like spaceships and stuff.
I'd
And
be
it's
down
Star
for that.
Wars in space. Star
Spaceship mounts.
Wars. Star Wars 2, boys.
Star Wars. Guild Star
Bad
Wars.
Corvus.
Guild Star Wars 2, the
I'm fired.
old Republic of. Oh no,
it's just
Caithe.
Guild Wars 3.
Guild
yeah,
Wars.
just Guild Wars 3.
Mm.
Would they
I'd
keep
li-
the servers for Guild Wars 2 up?
Well, they
The
keep
servers for
the
Guild Wars
servers for
1
the
are
first
still up. Yeah, heck
Yeah.
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 But
But would it not be like competition with themselves? Like Guild Wars 1's a very different game.
it'd just go into maintenance mode, I think.
Yeah, that's
They'd
what
get
Guild
to a
Wars
point
1
it
did.
just-
Guild Wars 1 runs on the Guild Wars 2 servers, so it's just kind of like added on in the
Yeah.
same thing. And everything's just automated. All of the events, the festivals, everything's
Yeah.
automated. They,
Yeah.
just if something breaks, they fix it.
I feel like Guild Wars 3 would be too similar to Guild Wars 2, or more
Yeah.
similar to Guild Wars 2 than Guild Wars 2 is to Guild Wars 1. So
Yeah.
I feel like maybe
I have to
having
agree with
two
that. Yeah.
very MMO-y MMOs out there, it could
Yeah.
kind
Like
of
What
the-
shake up something
about
to it.
instead of Guild Wars 3, it's just called The Trials of Ritlock?
Oh,
Ah.
Ritlock's
That's already
Adventures.
out. That's
Well,
already
I
out.
mean,
There's
just a new IP in general, you know.
There's-
That,
there's
honestly,
Ritlock's
spin-off.
Critter Rampage. That's the true that's the true sequel.
a new IP but set in the same universe would actually be amazing. I would
It'd be
Mhm.
cool.
love
But-
that. Maybe
but-
single player or maybe
Are
some
we-
crap
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. The things ArenaNet aren't that kind of company. They've got all of their eggs in one very large and very
But aren't-
successful basket.
Wasn't there was a posting for a job position where they mentioned something about having multiple games that they're working on right now or something?
Oh, wasn't it some ridiculous mobile thing they were working on? Like they're
Yeah.
probably
People watch
that-
the changes to the ArenaNet website, not Guild Wars
Yeah.
2, of the ArenaNet website,
Yeah.
and
they're
theory
probably putting
craft
together like
on
they're
that.
probably
Yeah, I mean it's vague.
I mean, people
right?
were
And
saying that when Mike O'Brien said he was stepping away from
Yeah.
being the game director because he had other projects to work on, and
Yeah.
that may be true. We don't know, but
there's been a million
there's
times
been
like, people have
breadcrumbs
said
that
this, yeah.
people are piecing together into what may or may not be another
they're
game.
probably just making a trash card game called Polymock or something. That's why they need like, the
Oh
mobile
Dude,
God, no,
developer.
not
I'd
a
be
card
up
game,
for it.
please.
No.
I was so disappointed that there wasn't a proper card.
There's no-
game.
Season
No,
5,
no.
Polymock.
No,
Turds.
like no more CCGs are terrible. I mean, no, that's not correct. I'm terrible at CCGs. Let's
Yes,
just
I can believe that.
there was before we go completely off rails, can we talk about the raid and
Yeah.
how
We're gonna start wrapping things up, so just briefly.
Yeah.
and about
I have-
how amazing it is?
Yeah.
I have no impressions because I haven't played it, but
Mate, it's
the
so
trailer
It's
good.
basically Willy Wonka. You get a golden ticket, and you go in there, and
You get flushed down the
So-
toilet.
Zamaros, or however you say his
Yep.
name, is Willy Wonka, and he's taking you on a tour of his gold factory.
Yeah, it's so good. Like the attention to tell. It's like Zoros is taking the piss out of everybody for like throwing all the trash in the Mystic Forge over the years.
There's pearl
And then-
weapons everywhere.
Yeah, and then
Script
if
running around.
if you look really close at stuff, there's like some of the coins have like the Mystic coin texture on it, and there's
Oh,
like
really?
sigils. There's like sigils in there as well, and like the whole story is that for some reason he has a bet or something. Like one of his gin mates has come along and just be like, no, this Mystic Forge is mine, and he sort of like cons you into helping him with the thing, and like it's and like there's one boss which is like a giant golem which is sort of like a less mobile keep construct, but the mechanics are different and it's really cool. And then there's 2 Largos.
It's
Largos.
Belial from Diablo 3.
It is Belial from Diablo 3, isn't it? Yeah. And then there's like Largos that you have to fight 2 of them at the same time.
That's the boss that I'm on.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Which is really weird because it's a very sneaky, invisible DPS check. Because if your DPS isn't good, you will fail at that fight. Like it's sneaky
The
how
platforms slowly go down, so like it's not just a timer up in the corner. It's kind of like Sabbatha, how like the cannons are shooting at the platform, so you're timed in that way. Not just like this enraged timer, like the platform's going down, and if you hit the water, you die. It totally reminds me of like the water temple from Legend of Zelda, because it's like, don't touch the water. They, the water is their domain. I was like, this is Zora's domain, but yes.
It's cool though. Like there's like a lot of the mechanics are stuff you've seen in previous raid wings. So especially with the Largos, you've got the water AoE, which is just like the Slothsaur poison. And being bubbled, which is just like Gorseville eggs, and then like Kadim is just like, what is that? It's just insane. It's just there's like everything's on fire, and then you have to like find a Hydra, and then you have to split, and then like the platforms move, and it's weird for a raid wing for like a final boss that you don't actually fight the boss that much. You're like too busy doing like a million other things, but the whole instance is just beautiful, and it's like Lena did the Largos music fight, which it's unbelievable the music in this, and like the way that the instance is designed, and like it's cool that it's almost like a raid wing, previous raid wing that was so serious and like with doom and all the blood and guts and gore and depression and all of the stuff about in the first 3 wings where Lazarus was coming back, and then wing 4, which was a little bit easy but just 4 huge monsters, and then like a big old raid wing which sort of takes the piss out of itself a little bit. And
that's good. Yeah, it's good.
That's what I liked. It was it's a change from the doom and gloom of all the other raid wings. So serious and so there's so much at stake. And now it's like there's a lot at stake, but it's within the Mystic Forge. And we're helping Zomeros, who I feel like us and Zomeros are like, it's like Mario and Bowser. It's like we're pals at this point. We can party together, we can kart race together, but you're still my enemy, or I still don't trust you. Like I feel like we have this companionship with Zomeros that we don't actually have. It's a cool dynamic between us as the character and Zomeros, and so it's like we also have a vested interest in helping him, because even the Kadim says, the cauldron where your legendary items are forged, this powerful thing, and he wants control of it, and it's like that is where my legendaries come from. Yes, we need to protect this. So it's like it's Zomeros's bet, and we got tricked into it, but at the same time we have a vested interest in it. It's really cool.
Quite cool.
Yeah, and the environments are beautiful. When you walk on coins, you can hear like it sounds like you're walking on coins. Just like all the little details, the Skrit running around, asking the Skrit, how did you get hired to be in here doing this? Sorting and receiving, and all of the loot falling from the sky. It's just it's brilliant. I'm really enjoying it so far.
There is also a cheeky rumor, and I don't know if John will be able to confirm this, that the event after you kill the amalgamated construct, where you have to go through the jackal portals, there's a rumor going around that that's going to change every week, because if you look at the jackal portals that you have to go through, there's like a big kind of semicircle of jackal portals on the wall, but only 2 of them are active. The other 2 are inactive. So what if there's like a patch or a switcheroo in the raid every week where the events alternate? So like, I mean, like the event fight is pretty much like Subject 6, but slightly less annoying, and then you've got the sand shark. But what if like every now and again, like they just switch it to a new event? I mean, I assume you built it and it's all tested and all that kind of thing.
That would be very cool.
How far is that into the raid?
Cannot confirm anything. says
it's like
John.
it's like straight after the first boss, pretty much.
So maybe, do you think maybe further wing could just be portals activated, different portals activate, and then you kind of so you just get through the first one and then the next few are different.
It doesn't really make sense though, having a portal to another wing past the first boss.
Right.
So like,
Yeah,
it's like
it'd get boring doing the first boss
kinda...
over and over.
I
don't know. I
like,
just think of another way they could expand it. I don't
Yeah,
know the raid, so I don't know how.
Yeah.
Like,
so you mean boss, and then like you have like three.
Branching paths. Yeah.
Oh,
so you could take different routes and do different encounters.
Oh, holy hell!
Portals.
Oh,
so
like actually find different bosses completely.
Yeah.
Within that wing.
So like the entire middle third is different. So like you don't.
That would be cool.
So like only the first boss is ever the same, and then once you get past
but
that,
then you go through this portal instead once they release this wing or whatever, and then it's a whole different set of encounters after.
It would depend on how the story ends. I don't know how the story wraps up at the end of the raid. I think it would depend. If it does it leave it open, or does it like end?
Not really. No, I mean like you beat Kadim and Zonaros gets his forge back pretty much, and
yay.
Yeah, you're like yay, good for you.
What if the middle boss changes? Like
I could see the middle boss changing.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
That would be very cool.
I mean,
it would kind of play into the RNG vibe of the forge as well. You know, like throw random items in and get something. So like if it changed up, it'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
And it would keep people coming back rather than we beat all the CMs, we beat everything, we're done.
Yeah. How are the rewards, by the way? I think I saw a gallery.
Oh, mate.
Weapons, and they kind of look a bit plain.
There's a throne of coins.
Yeah, the throne looked amazing, but like the weapon skins looked a bit like, eh.
The weapons,
they were good. The ones I've seen.
The swords are the one-handed swords are the swords that the Largos use during their fight, and then the
is there any like particle effects or anything?
It's got like a little watery type thing going on with it, and I think the swords, and I think the great sword and shield has a bit of a glow because they're items that you pick up during the construct fight, which is very well done. But yeah, I was slightly kind of like, they look nice, but I probably wouldn't use them. And I was like, I'm all about that chair, because I think
that's the
chair.
thing.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that they have put that behind challenge mode now rather than
RNG.
Like having the Doom bench drop for like randomly and then it being able to be bought on the trading post. Like the way that they've set up the rewards now, it's like
the trading post.
No, me either, man. Me either. But like
it's on the trading post.
Yeah, it's
Doom chair. It's like 600, 700
it's like
gold.
600 gold.
I'm
mate. It's like
I didn't do the raid. I don't care. Shut up.
Yeah, it's like
you're like, wow, dude, you defeated
nothing,
Doom.
man.
Congratulations. You're a hardcore raider.
No big deal.
Look at your chair.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it costs so little on the trading post. It's kind of
600 isn't that much, honestly. I was expecting more.
Like the first time it was on, it was for about 1,500, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I feel like closer to like a legendary price would be fitting. But I mean, I guess it's not hard if you have a good team or something.
Yeah.
So.
And it is 2,000 gating crystals as well, but considering
if you buy it is very expensive to buy.
Considering that like at the moment you can only do wing 5, so you could only build it up at what? How many crystals was it a week in one wing? Is it like 40 or 50 or something like that? You have to do it in like maybe 100.
But can it drop as well?
Yeah, it can drop. It's very rare, but it can drop. If it doesn't drop for you, once you defeat Doom, you can buy it, but it's very expensive. It's like 100 gold and, like he said, like a ton of gating crystals. So
it's very expensive, and eventually you're just gonna be better off buying it on the trading.
But I guess it's like a good way to. You have to do the raid multiple times to get that, and then every time you do it, there's still a little chance it could drop anyway. So it's like. It's like it's a more of a hook, I think, to get people to raid frequently. I think that's kind of okay.
But having the new one locked behind the
challenge,
locked behind the challenge modes is a really good idea.
Oh, it makes it a prestige item. You know,
absolutely.
Like it only comes from this end game activity. Like it's cool.
And
I think that's
challenge mode. I am very happy that this wing is not as difficult as the last one.
Yeah.
It's on the easier side for sure. I mean, our group who are not super duper pro raiders, we beat the first boss the first night, which is the first time we've ever beaten a boss like in the first night that we've attempted it. Second one is we've gotten about halfway through, so it's on the easier side, which is good because like our group
I feel like
was about to
the
quit.
tone of it is more fun anyway.
On Doom,
right?
and
Like,
yes, you're right. It's more fun. So
I think
Makes sense.
Kind of
the
fine.
the difficulty is somewhere between wing 1 and wing 4. Like, I mean, I think obviously wing 4 is the easiest raid. I'd include Deimos in that as well because it's pretty thingy. And then like somewhere between wing 4 and wing 1. I think it's I think that's a good place to be. I know a lot of people won't agree with me and say no, we need harder wings, we need harder raids and that. But you've got wing 5 now, and to some extent you've got wing 2 as well because wing 2 still claims the most players on a weekly basis.
How long was World's First?
What's not even 6 hours.
Really?
Is it
Wow, that's
6?
quite short. That's short.
It was dead quick, and then Salt got the unofficial World First Challenge mode in 16 hours, I think.
Were they doing that constantly?
Oh yeah,
Or was it just 16 hours after launch?
Oh no, it was so they. Oh no, it was 16 hours after it launched. So they did.
Right, okay.
So everyone did normal mode, and then they worked through. Challenge modes. But yeah, it was all done by the next month. But I think like Doom took 36 hours, I think.
Yeah. See,
To
that's
get-
more in line with like I think traditional raids, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, but the things with this new raid wing, there are a lot of mechanics in it that already exist in other raid wings.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And that was a big complaint of Wing 4 because Wing 4 like essentially Ken was essentially a regurgitated Veil Guardian. Masato Overseer was one step up from the DPS Golem. Samurog and Damus had their own kind of things to them, but again aren't challenging if you're all on board. And people like you saw the repetition there, and there's a little bit of repetition here. Kadim is quite different, admittedly. There's a lot of kind of splitting the group and a bit of hand kiting and all that kind of thing. So there is a big jump in difficulty between the first two bosses and Kadim. So it's kind of nice that people who haven't necessarily experienced raiding before can go in, learn some mechanics, kill the first two bosses after a bit, and then get their ass handed to them by Kadim for like the next 3 weeks straight.
I think they have an excuse just because of the lighthearted tone of it all.
Yeah.
What you kind of going expecting it to be a little bit of a walk in the
chill
park
and just laugh. Yeah, it's more like just do this every week and have fun.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, plus if they are going to keep up with the release cadence, I am echoing on somebody's end. I hear myself.
Yeah, I can hear it too. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna blame Alex.
Always.
So if they're actually gonna keep up with this release cadence of fractal raid, like every 3 months or so, I don't know if they can do that, but that would be amazing. Having the raid be a little bit on the easier side would keep the more casual raiders able to keep up. Don't give us something like Doom that's going to take us 4 months to beat just Doom.
I mean, the raid is not going to be every 6 months. It's going to be probably much longer than that.
Yeah.
I mean, typically they're like 10 months.
How long was it? Yeah, 10 months.
It was nearly a year that this one took to come out. And considering that the Fractal team and the Raid team are now the same team as well, so they have double the content to do. But it's got to be quality over quantity. No one wants a dozen raids, a dozen raid wings, half of which are just dross and just DPS golems. No one wants that.
Yeah.
Like at the moment we have like the first three wings all kind of connect to each other, so that's a nice little story in there. But we have like I'm looking at the at the first 3 wings, the wing 4, wing 5, and wing 6 as so we've got like 4 different little stories kind of in there, and they're all in their own little kind of self-contained thing, and they're all, as much as people complain about it, they're all a really high quality. They're all really high quality content, and I would much rather we have the release cadence that we have now with the quality that we have, rather than just them knocking out any old crap every 3 months and just going, oh my god, we've got to do something, you know.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
cool. I think hard raids are cool, and I think it's important to have super challenging stuff in the game. But I think it should come from, it should be a mechanical thing rather than how tight is your DPS rotation.
Yeah.
It should be like interesting,
Yeah,
cool
for
new.
sure.
And if it's gonna take them a year to do something that's insane like that, maybe it's better for the community as a whole to just have something that's maybe reusing different mechanics from elsewhere and making it more fun. I think that's maybe.
My only complaint is that I feel like there's always too few bosses compared to raids I'm sort of used to from other games.
Well, like Warcraft raids kind of thing.
Or even SWOTOR or even Rift, they all had they all had more than 3 bosses per wing, generally speaking. The other thing is, I totally agree, like, this wing being a little easier is a lot more fun for people. But when you're going to do a difficult wing, like Doom, for example, I feel like all the bosses should be super difficult rather than one boss being super difficult. And I would even say, as far as CMs go, first of all, I think they should be repeatable either weekly or monthly or something like that. But I think the CMs really should be like like next level difficulty, and then reward people for that. Because like if you do Mo CM, it's like what? It's nothing. You know what I mean? So I think there's a little bit more fine tuning that they could do going forward. I don't think Nike said the other day, like, they don't need to one up themselves on every raid, and I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
It's not like you need to go Doom even more difficult than Doom. Like it doesn't have to be that way. And so this raid, I think, is a lot more refreshing for people. And I think the difficulty is probably fine, but when you're doing CMs and when you do decide to do, okay, this is going to be a Doom level super difficult raid, then I think all of the bosses need to be super difficult. So.
I think maybe CM should, like, you choose before you go in whether you want to do it, like on hard mode or not, basically. And there should be drops, maybe the same weapon skins, but with like slightly different effects,
Different
something
colors,
to distinguish.
Yes, different effects. I don't understand.
Super Adventure Box. Like, just make it like SAB, where you can tell what difficulty someone did it on based off the color or something.
Super Adventure Box. It's what they do in Super Adventure Box, and it's a great system. I got the red weapon, and that means something. People know what it means you did and you accomplished in the game because you have the red one. It's all you need to do. Change the color, give it a shinier effect, like the upgradable armor. Make upgradable weapons depending on the achievements that you do.
Can we
as long as the difficulty slider only goes up.
A raid wing in Super Adventure Box, yes.
Oh, God.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I mean, maybe.
All right, guys, let's wrap up the show there. We went way over time, but there was a lot to talk about, and it was good discussion. So thank you guys for being here. Thank all of you in the audience for being here, whether you're watching live on Twitch or over on YouTube. Thank you so much, guys. Tell us where we can find you guys. What content are you putting out? Are you streaming? Are you creating content on YouTube? What are you doing, Mr. RPG Alex?
Well,
charity stream. Go,
yes, that's the one. So, all this week, over on my place, just twitch.tv/RPG_AL3X, because RPG Alex is still taken by someone who doesn't stream. Every day we're doing a stream for Macmillan Cancer Support, raising money for all the fantastic work that they do. So every subscription, every cheer, every Twitch donation, every humble bundle partnership, and anything else that I monetize on the Twitch thing, it's just going to get thrown into the charity thing for the next week. So if you want to come out and hang over at mine, that would be super duper awesome. And if we do hit £1,000, I am going to
Shaving.
He's gonna
the
shave his
hair.
head if they hit 1,000 pounds.
And
Shiny
£1,000 is going to shave my head.
bald Alex.
Yeah.
We need to make
I don't
this
know if I
happen.
want bald Alex, but at the same
I
time, I
don't
want a lot of money
bald
raised for
Alex,
charity.
but I
No,
want to
think
beat last
about-
year's. I want to beat last year's total.
Think about
We
the
did
fun we
£700 last year, so
you
we
Wow.
just
got
put a PNG of hair where
I know.
his overlay thing is. Whenever we do, we can change his hairstyle every time we do the show.
But yeah, so I'm going to be streaming kind of pretty much as I can for the next week. So always just kind of drop in and say hi and donate when you can. That'd be super duper awesome. And it's also the only time of people to chuck money in my direction when it goes to that kind of thing. If you want to subscribe to somebody, subscribe to anybody else who does this for a living, because I have a full-time job and I get holiday and sick pay and all that kind of thing. So please direct everything else after this week to all of these wonderful people here.
To this guy.
To these people. Okay. Aside from that, like I say, I stream on twitch.tv/RPGAlex. Guild Wars 2 The Witcher. We're playing Bard's Tale 4 at the moment, which has just come out, which is super awesome. For those of you who are into your Pathfinder D&D or Pathfinder tabletop role-playing, Pathfinder Kingmaker is out next week as well, which I've got a key for, which is going to be super awesome. And yeah, just general super duper fun stuff. So if you could
Sweet.
check me out and follow MMO Winks on
Very
Twitter.
good.
that
Links
would
are
be
all
amazing.
down in the description here on on YouTube and in the chat here on Twitch. Corvus.
Yeah, I am making music. I'm just kind of screwing around doing stuff. I post it on YouTube. I have a Patreon with like 3 people on it, which is cool. So you could maybe jump in there, but just listen to my tunes. I hope you like them. That's really it.
He's pretty good.
Really good stuff lately. Yeah, I'm really hooked on one of his new songs.
I'm also desperate for money, so if anybody needs music or if anyone wants music, please give me money and I will do it for you. I need some new clothes and a new hat and stuff.
Right? Where's the
Anyway.
hat?
And all that
It's been
spaghetti.
gone
What
for
Corvus
ages.
is this?
Exactly.
He's got to
Go
buy all the
naked.
spaghetti.
I'll send you leg pics. I'll send you
Do you-
anything you
Oh
like.
my
Do you want to
God.
do that?
Just
do you wanna do
please
leg
give me
pics?
money.
Do you want to do I try and do
I
legs.
got
but I'm wearing-
legs.
Come on. Oh,
I'm not
doing...
wearing
There-
trousers.
okay.
Whoa!
This is
Hello!
officially. We're back
A
to
leg
GuildGab, you
stream
guys.
now.
We are back.
Woo!
Welcome
This
to
is
the
it.
GuildGab of 2016.
Dude, please tell me when you're wearing boxer shorts.
We don't do post shows anymore. So this is or you're sprinkling a
This
post
is
show.
the end.
MMO Inks, where can we find you? What are you doing?
I mean, I don't know if I can follow that up. I mean, that's a tough act
He
to
doesn't have
follow.
legs.
I don't have legs.
Oh no.
I shouldn't say that. I do have a leg.
Oh,
One leg.
Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at MMO Inks. I do a lot more stuff on Twitch these days. I am trying to take the Twitch stuff and upload it to the YouTube so that there's still YouTube content. But I do make some YouTube videos every once in a while as well. And of course, I have a Patreon as well. And thank you guys for coming and checking it out and all the support.
awesome.
Give Inks everything.
Yes.
Give it. He
Give
can take it
Inks
all.
All of it.
time.
All the follows on Twitter.
Yeah.
Is that the meme?
Cool.
I don't know. And of course, guys, hit that follow button here if you want to see more GuildGab, Guild Wars 2 content, and other variety gaming. And here on YouTube, again, go down into the description and check out all of the links. I've got all of our Guild Wars 2 referral links, of course, if you're going to pick up Guild Wars 2, and everybody's Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube's. So please, it just takes half a second to go down there, click everybody's links, check out their content if you're not already following them, which you should be doing. So guys,
Yes.
we will see you the next time there is a big Guild Wars 2 content update excitement. Thank you for joining us today for GuildGab, and we'll see you on our individual channels. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.